In PUBG, I know what's going on. Like, okay, circle is going that direction, this guy is doing that, I should be there. Then I can position myself, right? But here we are shot. Don't know what they are doing, don't know if someone wants to fly. Don't even know if he wants to fly. Could have been a guy who's right here. Let's try to play super smooth.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for everyone that's already here. Morg, Meme, I see Diablo, Sweetie's here. Who else is here? Say hi, would you? Throw some Risky Immersed hearts in there. Let me know that you're here today. Just a reminder, we're going to be talking to Jamin today. He is a good friend of mine from here in town. I got to know Jamin a couple years ago, and we'll talk a little bit about that and some other things that he's currently working on, and then we'll get into the gaming topic that you are also excited about. Risk has adopted all dad duties for me. Congrats. Yeah, Morg Meme, I got you, kiddo. You know how it works, you know, the whole dad dude. Again, we're already starting with the word duty. We just barely got into the stream and we're already saying duty. So I don't know if Jamin has had the privilege of seeing Diablo, seeing your video on me saying duty 4,000 times last 2 streams ago. So we should probably. It's yeah. So here, I'll introduce you guys to Jamin real quick. So everyone say hi to Jamin. Just give him a second. So hi, Jamin. How are you?
Good. Good to be with you today.
Thank you, sir, for coming on in. So yeah, I was asking the question about whether Jamin, you were familiar with my duty video that Diablo put together.
I mean, no.
Quick question for it. Just make sure everyone, again, let me know that you can hear Jamin's mic okay. Everyone's saying hi, Jamin.
Hey, everybody. Good to see you. Or meet you. Or
Yeah. Whatever the case may be.
whatever you might call this.
Jamin can see chat, so if you have questions for him as we go, please, by all means, throw them in chat as usual. And so today we're going to have a little bit of a different conversation in the sense that we're not going to have the typical conversation about Rise Above and kind of the students and whatnot, but we're going to tie in what we've talked about several times with this idea that I believe there is something social going on with the whole Twitch, with the gaming communities that we're seeing. And I think, Jamin, you are kind of an epiphany of that for me, of how you are now taking what we do as ministers in the church and taking that into a community to draw people together through this element gaming that we all do. So we'll get to that in a little bit, but I think as we kind of start the day off, I first want to know, is it still sunshine outside? Because I've been locked in this hole for quite a while.
There hasn't been sunshine in weeks, Neil. I don't know if you've noticed.
Yes, it's kind of drab outside, so I'm hoping. Sweetie, nice to see you here, kiddo. Thank you again for all that you're already thinking of doing for us here in the Rise Above community. Michigan is bleak, she says. Yes, it is. So I'm going to take it that it's no better in your area, sweetie, than it is here in Jackson, Michigan. It's very gray here. Well, it's always gray in Antarctica. I think it's only, sun for like 30 minutes a day in Antarctica there, Morg Meme. So nobody here should be surprised that you're seeing gray. So, no, KZoo is rough too. I'm sure it is. So, Jamin.
Yeah.
I've actually wanted to do this whole stream with you for a year, literally from the. Yeah,
Just bringing it up now.
Yeah, I know, because you're always so busy. You're one of those guys. You guys think I'm busy.
I give the illusion of.
Yes, the illusion.
All a lie.
Yeah,
on the couch eating chips most of the time.
Fair enough. Well, now we all know. Well, it's good stream, everybody. Thanks for coming out. No, I honestly, since the day you came in here when we set up the studio, and it's a little different from when you were in last, hence the big green thing behind me. Yeah. But yeah, when you came in, you initially helped me set the audio up for this room, and there's been many iterations since that day. Let's just say that, and we've actually gotten some considerable grants to do all of this stuff. So thanks for getting that going. But the whole idea was to bring folks like you in from our community that are doing the work, that are out there every day, functionally doing the things that I think are helpful to our community, to the populations that I think we mutually serve to some degree or another. And I think for myself, I've always tried to bring like-minded people around me as an encouragement, but also then strive it like we do in this chat here to find people who have differing opinions, to then push me further and to make me better. And so, I mean, you and I think have a lot in common, but I think at the same time are willing to talk to each other about various different things. And I think that's one of the exciting things about my relationship with you. So I think we should start with learning who the heck you are. What you're currently doing, how you feel, we first met, things like that, and kind of where we're at. So, chat, Jamin, chat.
Sure. Well, we first met in. Did we just have a class together?
We did.
In college.
Yeah, we did.
I'm trying to remember which one that was. So long ago.
It was I'm gonna assume it was some biblical class.
Yeah, most likely. That makes sense. But yeah, I met you in college. But I'm a third generation pastor, so I've grown up in a bunch of homes of pastors, and just really love the church ever since I was young. And when I was in like kindergarten or something, I was like, I'm gonna be a pastor too, just like keep growing up that way. But then I met music, and that kind of changed direction for a while. I was like, I really want to do something.
Is it fair to say you're musically inclined, Jamin?
I do like music. Yes.
Jamin is very musically inclined.
Yeah, I picked up a guitar. I played trumpet for a while, but apparently I hated that because I had no interest in it. But then picked up a guitar, loved it. That led over to piano, then drums, and then just kind of messing around with everything.
Yeah.
I listened to EDM, electronic music, way before everyone else, and everybody hated it back then. And now everybody listens to it, and I'm kind of sick of it. But that kind of music gave me the chance to start working on a lot of music in different capacities that were harder to do back in the day without like a professional studio. So that kind of took me into musical directions. I then went into worship leading as a major and then switched over to pastoral ministry when I finally came full circle back around, right where I met you.
Yeah.
And then, graduated, got married, and started lead pastoring a church pretty much all in the same few months. So
Then threw some babies in the mix just for fun.
Yeah. Then, stay on top of taking care of children and all that. Yeah. Good times.
Good times. And I just want to point out, Jamin, if you notice, you do have chat in front of you, I assume. Morg meme, this is the kind of abuse that I take. You see, wow, Risk went to class. Yes, Morg meme.
He did.
I have an education.
He was there. When he wasn't in Canada, he was there.
I actually showed up one time. I have proof. So, so what do you, so all that to say it prepared you for something. So you got to be doing something now. So what is the something?
A lot of things. My main job is pastoring a church in which, like, our goal is to have a different kind of church every night of the week that reaches a different kind of community. So the two that we do at the moment is Sunday night is dinner church, which dinner is kind of the element that brings everyone together. And then there's some kind of church elements on top of that, which people can come and go at their own convenience, but they stick around for the whole thing. But then this year we started Nerd Church because I'm a huge nerd.
As am I.
Yeah, I even realized, like, I've done a lot of writing on the side, put a few books out, and I'm like, here I am writing about theology and aliens and science fiction and kaiju or these Japanese monsters and how these things can work in biblical conversation. I'm like, what kind of niche audience am I writing for? No one's ever going to read this. I was like, there's actually other people like me who might be interested in talking about these conversations, and I would go to a church like that. So in the same way that dinner brings people together, we're dinner church. We're like, let's play games. I've got so many board games and video games, D&D, all these things. Just
we have some D&D folks in chat.
I'm learning right now. They actually put me in charge of a campaign. I'm like, guys, I'm still figuring this out, but okay. I like to tell stories. Here we go.
So. So the whole concept behind what you're doing is there is really a whole population of people that have embraced this whole gaming thing, whether it's board games, whether it's the Twitch games that are out there right now, because you have some experience with Twitch. You said you mentioned something about your brother and
we streamed Overwatch a few times. So you can watch me get destroyed over and over again. It's great.
It's no different than my streams. Don't worry.
Oh, great.
What's up? It's Bert. What's going on, buddy? From a gaming standpoint, hang on, let's back up one step, because there's a reality we have to face here. Jamin clearly has a radio voice.
Hello.
He makes me sound like, I don't know, Charlie Brown or something really like not very, I should be choosing a different profession.
I watch that all the time.
It is a classic. It's the time of year too. So you have a background in radio. You have a background in obviously in gaming now. You have several other things that you like to do, like you produce these little short films.
Oh.
Do you want to talk a little bit about your short films?
Well, ever since I was a kid, back when computers were not powerful enough to edit videos, I was already trying to edit videos. So it's just always been a habit to throw little things together for fun here and there. And
is there any mission to the videos that you're putting together? We're going to show one of his videos in a couple minutes here. So there's a little 6-minute short video that he just put out that I think is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
Is that with your permission, that is?
No, yeah, that's fine. Some videos have importance and others have no importance. I think like the one you're talking about.
We're going to show them all. We're going to show the Malhark one. The latest. Is that the latest one?
Yeah.
So does that one have importance, or is that just a fun?
No, our church does a talent show every year, and me and my brother have made a habit of just making a video for it. So this year we decided to play off the Hallmark special since it's always kind of a Christmassy themed talent show. So.
Yep.
So
Good, so
since Hallmark makes a lot of cheesy movies,
Because you put these out fairly frequently, I would say.
yeah, it depends on my mood. I mean, the last
Depends on
did you
my
see our
mood.
potato chip music
Yes.
video? Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like that was made in a night, and it was just me
pretty
striking a chord on the piano, and my brother was like, "Potato chips." I was like, "That's it, that's it. Let's sing that." So
That's the song.
5 hours later, video's done. Yeah, it just depends on our mood.
Yeah, so hey, Evan, what's going on, buddy? Thanks for popping in. I see Felix is here. What's going on, guys? Yeah, so we'll take 6 minutes. We'll show the video. We'll break it down because I'm curious, where the ideas come from. So be thinking about kind of where that stream and how you decide when, okay, we're gonna do something serious or when we're gonna do something more dramatic or comedy, whatever the case is. Does kind of does the ideas come to you? Or so let's go over to full screen and we'll have a look at this video here. Give me a sec. We'll throw it up.
Okay, so Joel, the Mallhark executives did not like the original ending to this. We rewrote the script for you.
All right.
You studied it, right?
Yep, all night.
Okay. So we couldn't get Amy on the set for this. You're gonna have to pretend she's right there.
All right.
We're gonna go ahead and shoot it, and I might be a little hard on you. The executives are not giving us enough money to do this again. Okay?
All right.
All right, so-
I think I can do it.
Amy's gone to Alaska.
Uh-huh.
You are a young executive who is trying to decide if your job is worth it or if love is worth it. You have your motivation.
All right.
Make it happen.
Okay. Amy, I don't know what I was thinking. All this work, all the time, I got caught up in wanting to make profit, but I realized the real profit is you. And I want to focus on you. You don't have to go to Alaska. Let's stay here, together.
No, is that the lines that you had?
That's the lines they wrote.
Okay, so I don't like it at all. It's not quite the level of cheese that Mallhark expects.
Okay.
So,
I mean, the real profit is you. But yeah, for sure.
all right, well, let's try delivering the general idea again, but this time cheese it up a little bit.
Okay, all right,
People
yeah.
like the cheese. They want
Yeah, sure. Amy, we spent what feels like an eternity together. And this whole time I've been chasing all this different profit, and my heart, what I realized is inside my heart, that profit will never fill that void. Only you are the person that can fill that. And the real profit, Amy, the real profit is you. Don't move to Alaska. Stay here with me.
That was good. The only problem is I hated everything about it. I think
Okay.
it's mostly your face. I hate everything about your face. If you could just, I don't know, it was too deep, too meaningful.
Okay.
So more expression, ridiculous, over the top. I hear what your heart's saying, but your face just says,
Amy, we've spent what feels like an eternity together. And this whole time I've been chasing profit, chasing my own needs and desires. But when really, you're my need and my desire. You are my profit. Can you please stay here with me?
okay, all right. Expression, cheese level, pretty good. Your body, though, I'm not digging it. You are not the typical main kind of actor we get. I need you to Chris Pratt this a little bit. Okay. Voice a little more manly, beefy,
All right.
like a muscular person.
Sure.
Same level of cheese. Do it again with the. Is there anything you can do about? Yeah, okay. All right. Well, let's try.
The best I can do. Hey, yo, Amy. It's been a while since we...
No, not full Arnold. Well, a little more Sylvester, whatever. Just that was too much.
All right, okay, Sylvester. Hey, yo, Amy, it's been a while since we talked, and I was just, I was thinking while I was trying to run my business that, you really are the prophet I want in my life.
Cut. Okay.
How'd I do?
All right. Can I level with you?
Yeah.
You are getting worse.
Okay.
I don't know who you're listening to on acting advice, but it just gets worse and worse.
Okay.
Like, probably some of the worst I've ever seen. So, no, the whole Sylvester thing was manly, but it's not cutesy enough for Mall Hark. You know that's like our thing. So, cutesy Sylvester this time.
Cute Sylvester. Hey, Amy. It's been a while since we talked. I was just, I was wondering if... Do you have to go to Alaska?
Do it like a chicken. More smolder.
Amy.
Yell at this key.
Amy! I know it's been a while. Don't go back to Alaska. Stay here. Stay here, Amy. Don't go.
Do it in Japanese.
Konnichiwa, Amy. Joru desu. Alaska, ikimashou.
Tell me that was all the right Japanese. Did you say the lines in perfect Japanese?
I mean, not perfect,
That was the shot. You nailed every line. Every line. This time.
Okay, you know what? I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. You want to have this movie? You can have this movie and this stupid jacket that you think is so important to the
Fine.
scene. Just...
Hey, girl. Back in the day, I always thought that I could make a killing, making money. As it turns out, baby, you're the real goal, girl. I love you. So don't go back to that Alaska place. It's not even really a state. It's basically Canada. Stay with me. The love of your life, girl. That's me. I love you. I hear what your heart's saying, but your face just says, I need to take a dump right now.
Hey, yo, Amy. It's been a while since we've done...
It's a man going by on a moped. No, sorry, that's an electric bicycle. He's doing better at his job than you.
I mean, maybe it was a little too Sylvester,
Yeah, like suffering succotash, Sylvester.
Yeah.
It sucked a tash.
Oh, that's so good. Well,
sorry
so-
you'll never see that.
What does everybody think? Is he a budding producer or? So I see Evan says this is his new favorite movie. I was literally crying. I don't know what the rest of you. I was literally crying. So do you want to introduce who that other fellow was in the clip?
Yeah, that's my brother. Somebody was saying like he's just demoralizing this man. It's just my brother. He's okay with it.
So
Though
he
I
was
will
an active
say,
participant.
Yeah, it was again made for a church talent show, and people were trying to decide like, can I laugh at this?
Yeah,
He's being
is
kind of a jerk.
Is it like okay if I laugh at this poor guy's misery?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so you do these videos quite regularly. Like, how long does something like that take you? Because that seems like an effort to me.
That one we ran out to the park for probably about 30, 40 minutes. It was cold that day.
Was it?
And he just knew what his character was supposed to be. I knew what mine was, and we just kind of made everything
That's
up
so
as we
awesome.
went along. And there's actually a game in which you have to try to do accents. And a
Oh, I
while
would kill
back,
it.
yeah, well, we should play it right now.
I
Let me
would
pull
totally
up.
kill it.
We a while back, like, kind of rigged that game so you had to pull out like 2 accents and put them together. And I realized during this movie, like, we were just playing that game. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
new accent, Sylvester.
Yeah, get mad at the key. Yell at the key.
Yeah, and it
That's
just got out of
perfect.
control really quick. But
So yeah, I mean, there are different types of these videos that you do though. So they're not all comedy-ish like that. So I mean, as I was saying, where do the themes come from?
it just kind of depends on what its purpose is. So a lot of times we're just trying to make people laugh. I mean, like you mentioned, I used to do radio, and the intent was on the morning show, give people a good start to their day, let them feel good. So let's just make some jokes and just kind of see where the morning goes.
I think that would work.
Yeah.
I think that would definitely work. Hey, Abu Ghost, I'm glad you finally made a stream, guy. Like, you literally got in the first 30 minutes. That's got to be a record for you. You usually get here the last 30 seconds as we're saying goodbye, and I'm putting the end stream ending thing up. You're like, hey, everybody, I'm here. Glad I made it, So, glad you're here, buddy.
We all have friends like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, we all have friends like that. You're late to the party, man. But I got the nachos. Yeah, we went and got some. Yeah, anyways.
He tuned in just as soon as I was probably looking like a
Yeah.
hey girl, which all my friends like, that's the most
I think
cringy
he got here.
part of this video.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
like,
he
I
got-
agree.
he's
I
like,
can't stand to watch
That's
it.
why my viewer count went down. It's like, wait a second, we had a bunch of
What
people
on
here a
earth is
second ago.
going on?
It's too funny. So would you count yourself as somebody who is naturally a joy-filled person that tries to be comedic all the time, or are you like? So is comedy your natural bend?
In certain settings,
Sure.
usually, but if I'm up on a stage and I'm trying to motivate people into kind of like a mental space to
Yeah.
be reflective and whatnot, then it can be the complete opposite.
But you have no problem injecting humor into your sermons and things
no.
of that nature.
Oftentimes that will come in really poor places and be in the middle of a deep moment, then
Yeah.
make a joke, and people are like, again, should I laugh or no? I don't
Funerals
know
are
what
not
I'm
the place, Jamin.
It's funerals. It's fine.
Funerals, yes, it's funerals.
It works out.
It's a remembrance of the good times. Yeah. So video games.
Mm-hmm.
So here we have this thing. So explain Nerd Camp in more detail for me. So where does the idea
Nerd Church.
first? Where does the idea come from? How was it like something you just thought of like last week and you're like, hey, let's do this thing, and
Yep.
or is it something from a couple of years ago and you're like, hey, we finally saw an opportunity and
Mm-hmm.
so talk a little bit about the Nerd Church thing.
Yeah, so Nerd Church for me came out of a meeting for the Southern Michigan Conference I was at in Dearborn. They were talking about
So the Southern Michigan Conference is a geographic area of
Yep.
Michigan that I'm a part of as a Free Methodist pastor.
Yep.
I'm actually on the board for as well, and that oversees a certain body of churches.
Yep.
So that's what you're speaking of. Okay, go.
Yep, and our church is one of them, and they brought in some people from a
What's up, Dingleberry?
organization called Fresh Expressions.
Yeah.
And Fresh Expressions basically gives you like, think of some new ways to do church. Now, some of the ones that they shared, I didn't fully always understand. Like one of them was Tattoo Church, I think,
Ooh.
which cool. But I think the idea was you go get tattoos every week.
Wow.
I'm like,
Expensive and painful.
church ends soon, right? Like you only got so much space.
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
But no, that's just a joke. But they had different kinds of ideas, and I was like, yeah, I'm trying to understand the difference now between like a small group and a church. And then one thing that popped in my head is like, well, the Comic-Con community, I don't have to like pretend to be them to reach them. I am them.
Exactly.
So
Well, and
what if
again,
I just rethought church in that light?
is it safe to say that's like, you basically did your passion, right, to some degree, because you have a certain degree of energy that goes into enjoy that's derived from
Yep.
that. I'm the same way. Like 100%. I mean, I don't play a heap of games, but I enjoy watching and being a part of that whole environment.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and you got to know like where your walls are. Like our church was founded on what used to be a Hispanic church,
Yeah.
and I would love for one of our nights of churches to be the revitalization of a Hispanic church.
yeah.
But I realize I don't know the culture well enough. I don't know all the things that they're going to care about
Yeah.
as much as
sure.
I should. So it's like, do I want this? Yes. Would I need to find another leader for it? Sure. And that's kind of what we did with this one is like, I'm going to help start this because I am a nerd and this would be awesome. But if anyone else here feels called to ministry, this is a place where you can get in. We had one guy who's like, I would love to do this. In fact, he was like, everyone always told me I was called to be a pastor, but I just don't understand how that's possible until I heard about Nerd Church. It's like, all
Suddenly,
right, the answer
life
came to
makes
be.
sense.
Yeah. So he's
So how
working
long
on that.
ago was that kind of like idea?
That was probably about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
I made a quick mock-up of a web page because I do web design
Yeah.
sometimes on the side, and I was like, this could be fun. And then I just like kind of let it go for probably half a year or so.
Mm-hmm.
And then started, we have a lot of nerds in our church. So we would, and a lot of us play Overwatch one or more times a week
yeah.
together. So finally I just started talking to them. I was like, what would you guys think about this? And they're all like, that would be awesome. So we eventually brought it all together and threw it into it's funny because to go to normal church, it's like an hour.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Nerd church is 3.5 hours long.
Yeah. Well, because again, it's a no pressure thing. You're there. You're sharing common. We talk about community a lot in this space in our stream here. And the idea there is what you're doing is you're creating a safe space to have community where people have similar interests and really desire to be in community at that point. So.
Super Meat Boy. They already know what I'm talking about.
So you set up Nerd Church, but I mean, there's got to be this idea for video games. So have you always been in the online video game world, or just like the video game world in general, or?
Yeah, video game.
Because I go
world in
back all the way
general.
to the Atari, when Nintendo and all that first came out and whatnot.
Yeah, I grew up with NES, and then
Yeah.
just kept getting consoles out of that. More of a PlayStation guy than an Xbox guy. Don't want to start.
Yeah, we all have problems in life,
controversy here on your
Jamin.
Twitch
Some of us are better
stream.
than others, and when it
I'm
comes
really a Nintendo guy. Hey now, Nintendo guy beyond all of that. But just my brother, not the brother in the video, but my other brother was the one who was the online gamer with all
Gotcha.
of his friends, and I always thought that would be cool, but nobody had the same system or games as me.
Yeah, now they're doing the whole cross-platform thing. and
So
it
it's
just makes
much
life
easier, and it makes for good community outside of, outside of the home.
So what was the point of video games for you?
Creativity was a big one. Solving puzzles, hanging out with my brothers or my friends, experiencing a story and being submerged in the story.
Were you a big choose your own adventure, Kid?
I mean,
like the books?
I was bad at reading at that time.
Gotcha.
But I loved those games once they started
Yeah,
making them. In fact, that was one of the things that really made me realize how crazy video games could be.
Mm-hmm.
Was when Heavy Rain came out. On the
Ooh, that's going
PS3.
back.
Yeah. So that one was like all just make decisions, and some of the decisions you had to make got a little out of control.
Yeah.
I'm not recommending you go play the game or anything, but it was like this incredible,
Yeah.
man, I feel like I'm actually having an impact on something when I play this, and I'm scared to.
Yeah, you're just not following this linear line
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Mario Brothers and jumping and breaking blocks, and
Yep.
you actually have some impact on the outcome of the game,
Yeah.
type of thing.
And creativity was always huge to me. And the more that indie games came out and were less processed by big companies and could do whatever they want, the more you saw like, holy cow, there's some crazy concepts out here that you can actually turn into incredible ideas. So
Hey, welcome to the chat, Dingle. Chat. So, I mean, from your standpoint, what are your earliest games that you guys played? So, from the standpoint of getting involved in the video game scene, was it those, like I had a lot of those little handheld like baseball and football games where you had to like the little ones, and then again, I'm a 70s baby, right? So I have the whole, Pac-Man and Galaxia and all that Mega Man stuff in my background as well. Like that's my intro to the gaming community. But so, I mean, the other question, and Chad, I mean, feel free to throw this in as well. The idea of, what do you use video games for? Is this entertainment for you? Is it stress relief? Is it, this combination of right time, right place for one of the two,
Yeah, stress relief is one of them. It's a good way to just kind of chill out. In fact, I find myself the busier I get, the more I'm like, I could just go for a good video game right now.
Yeah.
But creativity, which even for me, I know it sounds odd, but like when I come in contact with like really good creativity, I actually find myself, in a sense, connecting with God on a weird level.
Yeah, I get
I
what
know
you're
it sounds
saying.
weird,
Yeah.
but like if I come out of a movie and the movie was just blowing my mind, a lot of times I'll go home and I'll immediately want to record a song.
Really?
Yeah. Like
So do you do a lot of jamming and stuff like that? Is that something you just do? Will go and just sit and?
no.
Because I've seen you've posted a few times on Facebook where you're just, hey, I just felt like jamming, went into the church and
Yep.
started rocking out.
So if it's, I don't know, just when I come out of something really creative, I go home and then it's like I want to create something.
Yeah.
And since a lot of the work that I do is in a spiritual direction, it usually ends up being like a form of worship for
Yeah,
me, which
I get
is
that.
it feels odd because you saw something that maybe didn't have anything to do with it, or you played a game that maybe didn't have anything to do with it, but it brings you kind of full circle. Like Breath of the Wild, Zelda, the latest game. I'm crying by the end of it. I was told these things would rot my eyes out, and here I am bawling at a video game. Like, it was just so. It wasn't even the story that made me cry. It was just the fullness of the game.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
It was just so beautiful. I can't believe how full it felt.
Yeah. Sweetie, what are you saying yes to? I want to know what you're talking
Breath
about.
of the Wild or Sonic 3?
Yes, one of the two is
Sonic 3
invoking
is
the
Casey.
yes.
And Casey hasn't played a game in too long, I think.
Yeah, Diablo's saying say yes to the dress, apparently. Thanks, Diablo. Your input is ever so refreshing.
Unless they mean the dress.
Not just a dress, but the dress.
The blue and white and black and gold.
Figure out what
Remember
that
this
is.
one?
Yes,
Huh?
that's not, please. Creative things
Let's do
invoking
that for the next
creativity,
hour.
being wowed by art. Yeah, true enough. I completely agree. And I mean, and we can talk a little bit about that as well because I think it was Nappy last time. I'll pull it up real quick. So I'm going to switch screens back over to full screen again. We can still chat here. But I mean, talking about, and Sweetie, on your creative things invoking creativity. So this is my, this was my brother-in-law. I showed it on the small screen last time, but I'll show it on the big screen this time. And I don't know if you can see this, Jamin, on your phone or not. But
I've got the text or the chat.
Okay.
That's about it.
so I'm just showing the artwork for my brother and their oil paintings. So these are the oil paintings my brother-in-law does, Veronica, my wife's brother. I just wanted to show you guys in more clarity kind of the depth of his. And so along the lines of what you're talking about, Jamin, his artwork is very spiritual as well. I mean, he literally takes an excessive amount of time. And these are oil paintings, people. These are not photographs. These are oil paintings. He really brings his belief into his artwork. And the depth of the work is incredible. So, and again, not pictures, paintings. So, and just to highlight the size, the scope of this is 17 feet long by 5 feet tall. This particular piece, and it currently hangs in, I believe, the PricewaterhouseCoopers boardroom in downtown Detroit. So this is a gold-plated rear differential in a car that he took him. Normally it takes him a year to do a smaller painting. He did this in 3 months.
Wow.
Literally painted 20 hours a day.
I didn't know oil painting could even be that precise. You
Yeah.
know? I'm used to it being a bit more splotchy.
Yeah, no, he has an ability that is just incredible. Let's see, where's my favorite? Here's my favorite one back here. So this shows kind of like the depth that he can create with his oil painting. So this is like this idea of looking down through some of the gears and stuff. And he loves cars. He's a big car guy. So, but yeah, just incredible what he can produce with oil paintings. And there's one more I want to show real quick if I can find it. Is it this one? Well, that one's cool too, but that's not the one I want. Is this the one? Is this the one? That's not the one either. Where are you? Oh, you are right here. Here you are. This is the one. So this one here is special to me because this is a running engine. So what you have here is the blurring of the words on the belts. That's what's incredible about this painting to me, is the fact that this is a moving motor and the belt is spinning. So you got the blur of the belts. It's just incredible to me. But yeah, oil paintings, fun stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, see, we had a bit of a different topic today, but so was there anything in your life that determined kind of the direction to video games or the type of games that you played, or even today, is there anything that will determine what game you play, sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, creativity is still one of the biggest elements that I look for in games. As much as you can be creative in open world
What's up, Soggy?
games, a lot of times I get bored with those.
Yeah.
Lately, they've been
So
getting
like
a, lot more
a
polished.
Skyrim game is fun for a minute, but
Yeah, for me, it's just too much walking through something that's not real, and I'm not losing weight doing it. So,
I'm not getting my
but
steps
like
in.
Zelda Breath of the Wild was open world. I think what that did, that changed the scope of open world, was like you weren't copying and pasting land to land. Like
Yeah.
every element of this giant map was intentionally created, not just like pasted and then just drop some enemies in there. Like it's very thought out in every last element. So that brought me back a little bit to open world, but creativity is a big part of it. Fun's a big part of it. Story is huge. There was a Death Stranding game that just came out. I haven't played it. Maybe you guys in the chat have. You can let me know. But you're going to get, if anyone has played it, you're going to get either like 100% greatest game ever or 0% the worst thing ever made.
Oh yeah. Why do you think that?
Because that's what everyone's reacting
Oh,
to
yeah.
in the comments. Critics love it. People who like video games hate it. So I'm like curious where I'm going to land, because like it's hugely creative from what I understand. But the running gag is that it's a walking simulator. Is that all you do is walk and deliver
Yeah.
mail? So if you want to be a
Really?
UPS guy in a video game in a sci-fi world, you'll love it. But if not, so like there are elements too where creativity might stifle something, you know.
Yeah.
But
I think
yeah.
I think Morg Meme sees you as her professor. Is that you're calling my guest host your professor, Morg Meme? And no, he's not allowed to leave.
What'd I say? Is it because I'm wearing a Stranger Things Christmas sweater?
It's
That's
Stranger
good.
Things Christmas. I actually didn't even
Oh,
notice
I
that.
like Legend of Zelda more than Skyrim. Look, Zelda is like one of the greatest games ever created. So, and you want to talk about spirituality? A divine being becoming human to save humanity from their problems sounds
Very
rather familiar.
Very
Zelda.
familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, no rip off there.
Skyward Sword kind of borrowed a lot.
Yeah, I don't know that we're gonna get any royalties forwarded over this way anytime soon, though.
Yeah. Oh, I can stay now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your approval there, Morg Meme. I actually caught you guys talking. I think it was you and Cathcal talking about Stranger Things there a couple of weeks ago. You guys were chattering back and forth. Dingleberry says it's okay to be wrong sometimes, though.
Look, everyone I know loves Skyrim. Inoculant, he's played it a lot. Okay, here's the problem that happened to me with Skyrim,
Sure.
and maybe you can relate more.
Besides
with
the
this.
brokenness of the game.
Yes, I got on a horse and I started traversing up a mountain vertically. Like I was glitching my way.
I
to
don't
the
understand
top
what
of
the
a
problem with this story is.
I was
so
glitching
far.
my way to the top of a mountain.
Uh-huh.
Like it made no sense. The horse was still going up, but I was vertical. I went so high up the mountain, for like half an hour. I was like, I'm gonna find like the greatest secret of the game, and then it just died.
So
as though like the game didn't know how to spawn any more mountain for
I
me.
still don't see
So-
what the issue is here. It's Skyrim, the
I
best
spent
game,
half an hour
the
glitching
best
a horse
game
up a
ever
mountain.
created. Just saying.
Well, I did just get VR,
Yeah.
and Skyrim is one of the only games that is tempting me
Oh,
in
VR. I
a
never
more
thought about
massive game in VR.
So is that the new thing that you're kind of gaming towards? Is this VR experience?
It was more my a friend was willing to give it to me for super cheap, so I bought it
Gotcha.
to try it out. But there are some amazing games.
Have any of you guys tried the VR thing before? There's a mall near us here.
Oregon Trail, that's legit.
Yeah, we play actually Oregon Trail here quite a bit, actually.
Oh, on the stream?
No, not on stream
okay.
for our students here. Middle schoolers use it a lot.
Excellent.
Um,
VR developer.
yeah, we actually I think it's Lansing or no, it's in Ann Arbor. There is in the mall there's a VR experience right smack in the middle of the mall. So you're standing in the middle of the mall in this 40 by 40 foot square that's roped off, and they give you this VR experience, and you can battle zombies and do all this kind of stuff. I don't know if you've seen it or been to it yet, but there's
I've seen things like it.
yeah, if you go on the Rise Above's Facebook page, you can see our kids having the experience. I think there's a video and a bunch of pictures about it as well. So, I mean, as you're reading chat, if there's anything you want to respond to, Jamin, I don't know if I said it already, but feel free to stop and get into it.
Just continue to be insulted about Skyrim here. So.
Just because you went to the throat of the world by horse and died by the walls is not the game's
There
fault.
can't be walls in this generation. That was in 64 days, man. Let it go.
Let it go. So are there games that you tend to play when you're in a group, and games that you tend to play by yourself? Are there mutually exclusive moments where you're like, hey, I only play this. This is my game, because I just know that my brother, if he gets into this, is going to ruin the experience for me.
No, if anything, I usually become a little evangelistic about games I like. Like, dude, you need to experience this, and I need to sit here and watch you experience it, so I can watch your face change as you play it. Actually, that was inoculant with Uncharted. I don't know if you ever played those games, but I introduced him to that. I was like, I'm just going to sit here and watch you play what is, for me, a 14-hour movie.
Really? Oh, that's a great way of looking at it. True enough.
Yeah. But yeah.
Oh, Abu Ghost, you're a VR dev?
Yeah, that's what they said.
Please
Send us
explain.
your games.
Mr. Catch the last 30 seconds of my stream. Please explain.
And while they explain that, competitive shooters, Overwatch is where it's at for me, Dingleberry.
You're not a PUBG guy or
the only shooter,
Call of Duty and all that jazz?
The only online shooter I've really gotten into is Overwatch, and that's partially, I don't know if you played it, but it's because
I'm familiar with all the games.
so everybody gets like a different, kind of class and works differently. So
yeah, my son we built him a new computer yesterday, and we one of the last game he installed before he went to bed was Overwatch. So yeah, he's a big Overwatch kid.
And Last of Us and God of War, those games are incredible. They're at least I've only played the latest God of War, but talk about being installed into a fantasy world.
I've never played it. I've heard a lot of
I tried the other ones. They were way too violent for me. I know the new one's new violent, but
the new one's new violent.
I meant the new one is still violent, but it didn't feel as crude about it.
Sure.
Or the world was just so beautiful that it painted that maybe it
didn't
cause me to only focus on the violence.
Yeah,
so.
it's funny that I tried a game recently called Sniper 3, because I like the whole concept of sniper. I love long range shooting and things of that in IRL. The whole concept. But then when I played the game the first time, I took a shot, and the devs went a bit too far for me, where the front of the guy's face kind of pops off, and I'm like, I think I might have to pause this for a moment.
Yeah. And Last of Us.
I have some
wanted to push
grieving
that
to go
too.
through.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what I just did to this poor character.
I don't always understand why it has to go that far.
Yeah,
like those are kind of things I'll go to the options and see, like, can I turn that off?
Can I turn that violence
for this
down?
purpose?
Yeah. So I'm just thinking, is that like the old man in me coming out, like that I'm not desensitized yet, I guess?
Not desensitized.
So on that note of desensitization, how do you think video games over the years have affected you, or do you think that they can affect us?
Yeah, so I think that's a good question, and that's actually the topic
Chat,
that we
weigh
talked
in,
about
please.
at Nerd Church for the last 4 weeks. Is my initiate pastor is what we call him. He levels up as he gets more ordained. But he's at initiate pastor level right now, and he took us through a course on discernment, like what is good when it comes to entertainment. And if there's something bad in it, does it mean that like we just like throw it away, or do we try to look for some kind of middle ground? Is it different for everyone?
Yeah.
And so that kind of became the conversation as to, what it, and I know there are shows that like for example, I'll be watching a show and like I'll at one point realize this is really bad for my health and I need to stop. And I'll also realize in the same breath, I don't really want to stop. I want to know where the story goes.
Yeah, because you're a story guy. I mean, you talked about the idea that you've written books and that nature. So I get that. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are actually shows on right now that like are killing me not to watch because I've seen the first few seasons and I want to know where it goes. But I've also felt this conviction of this is too much, at least for me. And I can't handle this. Same with video games. There are some video games that look very interesting to me, or I'll be halfway through a video game when I hit this thing that I didn't expect, and I'm like, part of me just feels like I can't get through this part of this, and maybe I'm done,
Yeah, I get that.
Or can I get through this, and then the game will get back to where it was before? And so yeah, I think there is a discerning process to it. I as for like questions as to like are people more violent and all that because they're playing more video games, I think you can only look at science as to what that's showing, and I feel like the research has been pretty mixed or has said no, people aren't. But
so Abu Ghost brings up a good point here. Well, first I want to go back to what he said. The game you're called is We Have a Problem, 2-player co-op game. One player's a VR, is trying on a space station, the other player's mission. So is there, pardon me, Abu Ghost, is there a link to that we can share? So if folks want to check it out or anything like that, I'd love to have a look at that. Because I know a lot of people that are into the whole VR thing. So, but to your question though, I think in general humans are, or to your statement I should say, in general humans are pretty good at making a distinction between reality and fiction and can compartmentalize. Do you think that's a fair statement, particularly in light of the whole church thing that you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, the difference between what's happening, what's not happening. VR, I would suggest, could
make it a little more difficult.
It'll at least start making it feel a bit more real. You know, if you think of like at least some of the things you could do with VR.
Yeah,
like that could get pretty dark. Even like there's a game called Super Hot in VR, in which you just punch these prisms or shoot these prism figures, and they're just prism figures. They just kind of like shatter, so it's not like a big deal. But when you're in VR and suddenly you pick up this gun and you're moving it around and you have control over it and you're punching these,
it changes things
faces.
a little bit.
It feels different. And this week, a bunch of us were playing it from church, and like one of our persons just like, I feel like I shouldn't do this, but it's, so like.
Well, maybe, and I tell you why. I tell you partly why I ask. I literally just read a news article. I don't know when it's dated. It might be from 7 years ago. I'll be honest, but I just read it this morning, in going through some of my stuff that I do. Anyways, long story short, it was about this kid who was playing like a sniper type shoot 'em up game, and which I mean I watch and play all the time. Thanks for sharing, Abu Ghost. But he went out, he grabbed his rifle and goes out, and because he wants to be the sniper, goes out and starts to proceeds to shoot horses, killing one and hurting another one. Again, this whole idea of and he said the disconnection, I didn't think I was going to hurt anything. Yeah. He just wanted to be a sniper, Yeah. And so there's, is there a disconnect? Is it an age thing? And that's part of the conundrum for me with the whole video game thing. That's not the point of today's stream necessarily, but just might be something that we can even chat about in future streams if you're interested in never coming back. I mean, we'll see what the chat does.
For sure. I think it's partially you just gotta practice discernment. Like there are games that I don't play when my kids are in the room.
Yeah.
And does that mean it's a bad game, or does it mean that there's an age difference or an understanding? Like I think we can all relate on that level, right? Like, this is way too much for a 5-year-old to be able to handle. So we all do have an idea that like this might affect people's brains in a certain way.
Yeah.
I remember wearing a Simpsons shirt that has Homer strangling Bart, It's just like he does in the show all the time. It's a joke in the show. But the next day I saw my son like try to do that to his sister. I was like,
wait a second.
I wore the shirt? Like, there is sometimes this processing that is different, and everyone's a little different on that too. So
yeah, I know. I mean, that's part of the question for me is so we talked about, I think it was last stream, no, 2 streams ago, we talked about this idea that, why do people get so upset when they play video games? You ever watch somebody like, stupid, and they're throwing remotes at TVs and,
My
all
friend
this.
broke his Game Boy playing Tetris
Yeah.
with his head.
So think about that. So this is the statement I made when we talked about that, is that why does that happen? So my profession was that happens because the person believes that they should have won in that moment. They're not mad because functionally they lost. They're mad because they lost. Like the reality is, no, I'm better than whatever just happened, and I should not have lost. Or I'm better than, in this case, for online games where we're actually interacting with a real person. That guy was garbage. I should have beat him. And so I this kind of gets into my next question is this idea: does playing video games make you feel good? Or do you leave them kind of like spent, almost like, oh my gosh, that really took a lot out of me, Yeah. And are there different video games in the context of that, in this moment, this game, like Zelda, makes me feel uplifted because I'm rescuing the princess or doing whatever the objective of that game is. And I'll be honest, I've never played the game. I mean, the new version. I've played the really old.
I'll have to bring it over.
Yeah. So, and the question is, and same thing for chat. Like, what's the motivation for you guys to play? Is it an endorphin thing? So hang on a second. 2 people now, Dingleberry and Ellie, have used the word shame in chat. Know this. Know this. That's next week's stream topic. Shame. So to get back to Seaweed's comment earlier, wow, this stream's a little different than normal. Yeah, we're going to get back to the old stream in a second. So I mean, what emotion does that invoke for you? Do you do you come into them tired and exhausted and leave invigorated, or do you come in invigorated and leave tired and exhausted, or is it
I don't usually play games too long if I'm bored or annoyed by them.
Yeah.
Or if I am at a spot that I can't beat, maybe a bunch of people in the chat can agree with this. I just quit and come back to it later, and I beat it like the first time. So like, there's obviously a mental thing that happens sometimes. But when I do run into problems where I could be having a fun time playing the game and I'm not, sometimes I just have to make adjustments to the game. Like in Overwatch, I don't know what happened one day, but like nobody ever texts you in Overwatch because they hated you. But that day I got like 3 texts from 3 different people that they hated me. So I turned off texting. Like, if you don't know me, you can't text me anymore because you're ruining this game for me. Like, I'm just trying to have fun,
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, so this gets to the ultimate direction that I think I want to get to with the stream. It's this idea of personalizing video games now. It's no longer an entertainment stream. It's a social avenue. So we'll get to that kind of conversation in a minute, but just keep that in the back of your mind.
I will, along with all this shame.
All the shame.
Deep shame.
Yes.
But
you almost got me
so
into
I
that
have
conversation.
Half the shame you do.
You almost got me into that right away. So are you functionally? So you talked a little bit about online gaming. Is that most of what you do now? Is online gaming, or do you still do a bit of everything?
Overwatch would be the only one that I occasionally play. Or as Inoculant said, he tried to get me into Fortnite. But,
Fork knife.
Into Fortnite, but I can't build houses quick enough to survive. I got to second place in Fortnite once by hiding in a bush.
Hang on a second. He said he
time.
can't build houses fast enough.
Yeah.
They're not houses.
In Fortnite, you're basically building walls into houses.
Fortnite.
It might as well be.
Yeah, might as well be. True enough.
Yeah.
Yes. So so you don't do a lot of online games. What if you have an online game of choice? Are we just saying Overwatch, or are there other things that you guys are playing? What's up, Nappy?
Minecraft sometimes, Overwatch.
Ooh. I'm talking to a guy now about a Minecraft server, setting up our own. Like I have the tech to actually do it.
Yeah.
I have a functional server. It's not programmed, but I found a guy.
Nice.
I know Jamin.
You have a Minecraft guy?
I know a guy.
And my brother pointing out there, Jobo Bag and Smash Bros will do online sometimes.
Nice.
Which one of the ways that we bring it together is we have a Discord chat for our 1208-bit Nerd Church, which any of you feel free to join if you ever want to chat. But there's like different sections on the Discord for whether it's spiritual conversations, video games, movies, books, etc., D&D. So one of the things that we talk about there is
Everything's great. Everything
Sorry.
is awesome.
That's the sound when somebody gets a sub.
Oh, gotcha. So on the Discord, sometimes we'll just throw out, "Hey, I'm jumping on Minecraft or Overwatch or Smash Bros. If anyone wants to join, it's an easy way
Thanks
to get
for
a community
tuning
together.
in.
Thanks for the follow, Mr. Beggins.
Ah, my brother. Yes.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
We Overwatch stream sometimes together. So
What's the stream name?
is it not just Jobo Baggin?
I don't know. Ask your brother. Throw it in. Throw it in
Throw it in there, Joel.
the chat if you guys are
Everyone watched me yell at you earlier, by the way.
Jobo Baggins. So it's twitch.tv//Jobo Baggins.
There you go.
Gotcha. Go throw him a follow. So if you guys go on there, you can enjoy the humor of.
Of us yelling at Reinhardts across the world. Yes.
So you do online gaming
Mm-hmm.
against other people. When you online game, do you do it because of the fact that it's not an AI that you're up against, or do you do it because of the fact that and the non-AI gives you more competition, makes it some way harder, or more variables are then in the mixed? Or do you do it because you feel as though there is a sense of, or more a part of, community that you're then engaging at that point?
Community, if they're nice to me.
Sure, and so community can be many things. So
Yeah.
take that word community and take it for what you define it as, and therein lies the question.
Yeah. Yeah, so community when it is enjoyable and we're getting along or we find a good groove and we want to keep working together. But outside of that, I would probably, the reason I would play like Overwatch online is that's as close as it gets to sports to me these days. I was only ever good at soccer, and good was only like decent,
I got you.
most other
I
sports
feel
I
you.
wasn't.
I feel you pain.
Video, what, you look like you know plenty about sports.
I can move heavy things, Jamin.
It's a sport in itself.
I can move heavy things.
Yeah. Well, video games was one thing that was always fun because, at least with Overwatch, like it's not just shooting; it's strategizing. How does your character work with the rest?
More
of your
like
teammates?
ripped immersed.
So you work together to try to make it all kind of work out. So
Yeah.
strategizing sports in that way. As much of a joke as I think that it is that ESPN now has video games on there.
Is that Fawcett? I think there's more a sense of satisfaction that comes from defeating a human opponent than it does from beating a bot. Yeah. Yeah, again, that whole AI thing, right? And so there's, again, that gets back to the whole strategy thing.
Yep.
This idea that, I'm that interplay, as it were, of strategy in between one player to another. And again, it gets to that idea of, pounding the desk because I'm better than. There is definitely, to me, I say it all the time, there is a doctoral research paper to be written about this emerging culture and community that is twitch.tv, or whatever the platform is. Just the communities that we have in chat, the communities we have in online gaming. And I think it's less and less about the gaming and becoming more and more about the community that it's generating. Because the more we internalize, when I say internalize, I'm talking about this idea of we're shutting ourselves out. We're putting ourselves in little boxes and talking to each other. And I get the irony. And talking to each other through the interwebs, right?
Yeah.
And it's so we, in one sense, we're excluding ourselves from other human beings, but at the same time, we're getting the satisfaction of excluding ourselves through another means, twitch.tv. And it's generating this safe, and it's not a safe space, it's a safe environment for us to go and be something we may not think we're capable of doing outside. That's what I want to. Next time you're on, Jamin, this is the
He
conversation.
found it. He knows where he's going.
How's your wife feel about your gaming?
Fine. Is this a therapy session? Where are we going here?
My wife hates it.
Oh, really?
My wife, Veronica, whom you know very well, thinks this whole thing, everything about this 20 by 20 room is ludicrous and a waste of time. And again, I'm not saying that to bash her by any stretch. There's a reality. Some people just think this is, great, and some people think this is childish, and think scripturally it's leave the childish ways and cleave from your mother and father, blah blah blah. That whole idea of grow up, would you? And I'm like, but I don't wanna. I find this as some way entertaining and therapeutic and a bunch of other things. And I'll be honest, before we left Canada and came here, we went and did family counseling to make sure that everything was cool, because we're doing a big life change, quitting our jobs and moving countries, blah, blah, blah. And when I talked to the therapist about kind of how do I relax and things, got to find those things and stick with them and keep them, make sure they follow you, blah, blah, blah. One of them that we talked about was video games. This idea that I generate, because I'm an introvert, believe it or not, I'm an introvert. So remember, an introvert or an extrovert is not how you interact with people out there. It's how you re-energize yourself, right? So I re-energize myself by being alone, by spending time doing things by myself. It could be tinkering, could be playing video games, or whatever the case is. So, for her, she doesn't re-energize that way. Yep. She's very social in the sense that she'd rather just spend time with me and doing stuff together out in whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I assume your wife is similar in the sense of you, in the sense that she enjoys video games and is part of that?
I wouldn't say that she is like playing them all the time or whatever, but she, like my brother and his wife would be a good example of two like gamers who know the whole nerd culture and right there. But Jody doesn't mind unless I'm not taking care of the kids because I'm too
like the kids hanging by one foot in the crib or something like that.
Hang on, I'm coming. But otherwise, she doesn't
eating,
mind.
Uncooked craft dinner.
Usually, the way that it works out well is we've had this thing since we were dating that we call separate together, which is just like you're gonna go knit. I'm gonna play some video games. We're gonna do it at the same time, next to each other, and
that's your 2 hours. This is my 2 hour block. Yeah.
Have her own thing. So
that makes sense. But does she enjoy doing that stuff with you, like video games and board games, and does she get the whole movie thing, the producing the movies and?
I mean, we're pretty different people when it comes to a lot of that stuff. So she doesn't play a lot of video games or board games or anything like that. So it's more my thing. But she doesn't mind that I'm doing it unless it's getting in the way of other important things. That we should
and Veronica's the same way, as long as it doesn't take away from the priorities of the day, so to speak, right? Mm-hmm. What's that, Seaweed? Mrs. Seaweed doesn't really understand it either, but as time goes on, she's better. It's only taken 30 years. Well, that's good, One day at a time, how to eat an elephant one bite at a time, all right? So, what's that, Seaweed? The power of introverts in a world that can't stop talking. True enough. Oh, Nappy, you're still here, buddy. I thought you took off, but I've reconsidered that. I think it depends on the title. Defeating games that are designed to punish you can certainly be satisfying to a degree. That rivals out playing a human. Yeah, true enough.
Yeah, and you can always upgrade to the hard modes if you really want to punish yourself. So I usually don't. If the story's good, I don't mind if the game is
easier.
To some extent, like it still should be difficult, but if I want the story,
I prefer
to keep
the word
progressing.
challenging.
Yeah,
Jamin.
That's fine.
The game is challenging.
Uncharted for me is a good example of like I've got challenges the whole way, but the story's got me going.
The reality is my skill level could never get beyond. Okay, let's try this out with training wheels. Unlimited ammo. 4 times the health that a normal player has.
Dark Souls is far too punishing for me. XCOM is
really
fun,
my
though.
level.
I don't mind that kind of challenge. Your level is
my level's pretty. Meh.
Pretty Dark Souls.
Yeah, pretty. Got to be easy.
Oh yeah.
From a family structure as a whole, how do you think you're going to introduce your kids to this world? Because there's a lot of conversation about, I'd never let my kids, the whole screen time conversation and all that kind of jazz. The idea of, your kids saw Bart being strangled on your shirt. How does that play into, you think, the family thing? And this is by no means, this is not a political statement or anything like that. I'm just curious how, because I know myself, I've been very, very liberal with, go nuts. You want to play. It's a video game in my mind's eye. I've been in the military. I know what it's really like. That's not it. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, I hope to be launching a new stream in the new year to help explain and help people understand the realities of war. the realities of the firearms that are used in these games and the real destructive nature of what they are. What's up, Steph? Glad you could make it to a stream, kiddo.
Yeah.
So your kids, like, do you think that you'll be?
I mean, Beckett's already a gamer. He's
Oh, yeah?
very much. He's 6, but like I remember we had a small group over at our house, and we were all just talking and hanging out, and then suddenly we heard a Mario level like
Complete.
complete. We're like,
Wait a second.
who's playing video games right now? We look over, and for the first time, he had beaten the level, and he had been like messing around with this forever from the day of not knowing how to move the joystick around, and we all look. We're like, can he do it again, or was this a fluke? So we all watch him, and we watch him like intentionally swimming around and getting around all these fish and whatnot. We're like, he knows.
He's doing the thing.
Yeah. And on one hand, like I realize now, like, okay, he's super hooked on video games. Like he doesn't want to stop. It can be playing for a while.
Yeah.
Much too screen time, all that. I need to be more conscientious of helping him grow well in that area. But at the same time, I also know a lot of benefits to video games, how they help you think, how they're painting stories, how they're creating creativity for you, and all these things. So, like, I'm not the old when video games were first coming out, you know, it was like, these are just going to burn your eyes out, stunt your brain. It's not important. It's like, no,
Don't you want to have kids one day?
Yeah. There's a lot of math to this and a lot of, like, there's plenty to learn from
The depth
this.
of the game from Pac-Man to now is...
Yeah.
To say that it's different would be an understatement.
Yeah. So, like, there's plenty of value in this. At the same time, like, I'm making sure certain games are blocked that he's not going to be playing.
Yeah.
And then if he's getting in a bit of a tantrum because I want to take it away or ask to go on a break, then I'm like, okay, so this is where a wall is today that I need to teach you. It's not all about games, you know. Something I need to teach myself, though, you know. I'm a guy who likes to buy a game and blast through it in a week, usually, maybe even a few days.
It's like a good book, you know. I can't put it down.
Yeah, when Uncharted sequels were coming out, I would take a day off college, go buy it right in the morning, sit at home and play it all the way till I beat it at midnight, and then just like that would be my whole day of just going through something. But it can easily also become like, you know, a lot of laziness if I'm not careful, where I just get caught up in this and it has no value to anything I'm doing. I'm just brainless in that state. So again, it's back to discernment.
It can definitely turn into a time waster as well. And there are times for, you know, that to be a thing, right? And there's also times when, oh crap, I really should be studying for my math exam.
Yep.
Right? Stefania, so to speak. Steph, are you done all your exams, kiddo? Are you like fully on Christmas break now, Steph? Oh, I was going to ask a question. I stopped myself from asking it.
My brother did just point out that when Beckett wrote his kindergarten, what I want to be when I grow up, he did put Overwatch Pro player.
Well, here's a different question for you. So, my son, my oldest son, who plays for SAU on the men's soccer team, and he's getting his political science degree and all sociology, all that kind of jazz. You know, wants to get into politics and do all the, you know, influence people's lives for whatever he determines is better. SAU just basically said they're going to launch an esports team.
Really?
Yeah, I've actually been asked to help set up the Twitch side of it.
Did they say what kind?
Not yet. But my son, who plays for a legitimate university-level sports team, gets a very handsome scholarship, is paid a lot of money to play soccer currently, said, because he's a CSGO, plays on a semi-pro team, has to practice every night, do all this kind of jazz for CSGO, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, has said, do I quit my sports to go play on this? I'm like, I will beat you. No, the answer is, you know, you if you have time in your day and your schedule to go play on this esports team and participate, absolutely, you can do that. But you will not forego your scholarship for a legitimate sport. I I should not say, for that sports team versus the esports. So
Finally, something us overweight people can play, and you're taking it away from us.
no, not at all.
No, I do
I just
understand,
for him, like I said, it's a cop out for him, right? Because he is a darn good soccer player.
Uh-huh.
But he's also a darn good CS:GO player. I'm not gonna lie, the kid is good. And I remember him. I talk for a living, and I remember him playing Call of Duty back in the day when he was like 8, 9 years old, you know. And I'd watch this kid. I'm like, what is he doing? Like he's killing folks, like just slaughtering the server, you know. And then we got looking at his rankings because you could see where you placed and all that kind of stuff. And holy crow, if the kid wasn't top 500 in North America. And I was like, what are you? How are you this good? And literally, as soon as he got a hold of the the PC gaming environment, not Xbox, it just took off. And he's just, you know, he's always enjoyed playing it. And then he got noticed by this little semi-pro thing that's going on. And now he's been slowly but surely, their team is working their way up to the pro ranks where they're actually being able to compete in some cash games. Like it's pretty incredible to see how it's kind of progressed and gotten to a point where, you know, he's being recognized for. One of the teams sent him like a really expensive $500 monitor and the whole 9 yards, and like craziness. So all of this gear in here blows his mind because he's like, if I just had that computer, but you don't. What's that, Abu? Neil, would you say same thing the other way around? If you had a CS:GO scholarship, joining the soccer team with no scholarship? Well, you know, it comes down to passion. I know what he loves soccer. And that's his first love. And I think he's just seeing an opportunity, much like somebody who's been at a job for a long time and is making good money, and just somebody comes along and says, hey, you can do this new fun thing. The scary thing is to jump ship for that new fun thing there's no guarantee for him. And as a young man, it can be a very unwise decision is really what I'm getting at. I know his personality. I know what he's up to. And for him right now, not the right choice. He's going into his senior year. His coach is giving him a particular opportunity that he was not expecting this coming year, and I just think that weighing the greater good in these decisions, I think he'd be better served playing soccer at this point. I didn't say no to CS:GO. I didn't say no to esports. I just said one comes before the other. So that's the reality. Yes. What else is going on in chat? I've kind of ignored chat today. I apologize.
I think you've caught most of the questions at least.
Who's nicknamed Ripped Immersed because they were spot on? Ellie?
More like ripped immersed.
You don't recognize that voice?
Oh my god, he's jacked, dude.
Think about that. Who says that? Ellie, listen to the voice.
More like ripped immersed.
The voice don't lie. Choco Taco, come on. That's your boy Choco. Yeah.
Right behind me.
Yes, that is your boy Choco. Yeah, has anyone noticed the new shirt? No, it's the other way. Go the other way. Down below the green one. Anyone notice the new shirt down there? The OG shirt. I tried to wear it on stream, but the green screen behind me got in the way and ruined it all. So, nappy. Be nice. All right, so let's go back to our line of questioning before we get so distracted with my son and esports teams. You didn't answer that question at all.
Don't take it personally.
I know. What would you say the thing is around this? I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I just think it has nothing to do with the scholarship for me. It has everything. It has everything to do with his place in life and where he's at. It's not really the esports versus real soccer sports thing. Virtual or otherwise, it has everything to do with kind of the fact that he is in his senior year. He has literally spent 18 years of his life honing this skill for this year he's about to play, for the season that's coming up, and he's about to say, no, I'm going to chuck it all away for CS:GO, and I just don't think that's the right thing for him at this point. I don't know if that answers your question better, Abu Ghost, or not, but yeah, it's not a scholarship thing. It's 18, 19 years of training. So, yeah, basically, sweetie, it just made the shirt go invisible. All you could see was
Just your face
the
and
red.
arms hovering around.
Yeah, and a little bit of the red, almost like Nappy's, what do you call it? His floating head streams that he does. A little bit better? Well, thank you, Abu Ghost. I appreciate that. Let me ask me the question different maybe. Maybe I just don't understand your question fully. If he had a CSGO scholarship and was considering joining the soccer team with no scholarship. Yeah, if he'd poured 19 years into playing CSGO before, maybe I would. I think I would. What would you say to that question?
This is your question, man. Hey, my son.
Beckett's going to be there one day. Like, it's going to be a thing, right?
Yeah, he won't have money for college.
Oh, yeah, we're pastors. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I don't know what you
Wait,
did.
we're in
but-
ministry. Wait a second. Non-profits raise money constantly. Yes.
Woo.
So we have a thing on this stream called Dono Cam.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if you see the other camera on the light there.
If I smile at it right, does it make
No.
people
It
give you
actually
money?
points directly at the ground. No, it points. So if someone donates a certain amount,
Mhm.
it triggers the Dono Cam, and I have to get down and do 25 push-ups.
Ah,
So that's what that's for, and then you have to take over the
based on
stream
your
for-
muscles, you got quite a bit of money.
Yeah. These guys had me in, it was about a month and a half ago. I did over, what was it, 200 plus streams? Oh, Nappy.
Okay. Everything's great.
So this is what I'm talking
Everything
about.
is
So
awesome.
Nappy
Wait,
donates
1, 2, 3, 4,
5 subs.
So you have to do 125 push-ups.
No, that counts as one event, so that's 25 push-ups.
I'm gonna go for 125.
Okay.
I could probably bang it
Everything's
out.
great.
I could probably bang it out.
Everything is awesome.
So, yeah. So now we'll take a little interlude here. We'll go to Dono Cam. We'll do the 25 push-ups, Nappy. And so who got the? So Four Ball
Okay.
got a sub.
Everything's great.
Inoculant got a sub. Oh,
Everything
nice.
Awesome.
So you can all tell I am quite poor. But
Jobo bagging. Oh, your brother got a. Oh.
hey,
So
hey.
now, so if you got emotes
Okay.
from Nappy, thank you very much, Nappy.
Everything's
Make sure you
great.
throw.
Everything is awesome.
See, and that's Abu Ghost. That's what I say all the time. You got to do them 5 separate, but then they don't qualify. So because if you do, there's a command out there.
Okay. Everything's great.
So we'll do the Dono Cam and then we'll come right back.
Everything
2
is awesome.
seconds.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. It's time! You can talk.
I'm just gonna beatbox while he. No, not feeling it. All right. Well, that was a thing. All right. Now I just want everybody to keep doing that because that'd be great to watch for a while.
Oh my sweetie's like, oh my god, he beatboxes. There's a video floating around Facebook of it's this guy dressed up like an 80-year-old man. And he's like, hey, can I come and I've been practicing beatboxing. Can I do this for you? And he like beatboxes and he's like a pro beatboxer. Just like, he's just dressed like an old man. These people are like, oh my gosh. Like every other word's a bleep word. Cause like, what the heck is happening right now? My eyes are deceiving me.
That sounds about right.
But Nappy, thank you very much, buddy. A very, what's the word? A great demonstration of how Dono Cam works. I appreciate that. You guys, I tell you.
Why did you install that? This is on you, man.
I know, I won't tell you where it came from. So, I want to talk a little bit about the online gaming experience because that's, given the context of what we're doing today and the idea of Twitch and the new Microsoft thing that's out there now, who shall go unnamed at the moment because they have not wooed me with a large multi-million-dollar contract. So, till it happens, I'm not saying the name, just not doing it.
Minecraft?
No.
Is this about that Minecraft guy you have?
No. We're not there yet. So I think I might have asked it already. Describe your online gaming experience. So you talked a little bit about the idea that as long as they're nice to me. Explain that to me. So you've obviously had a bad experience.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, It still happens on Overwatch where sometimes you'll just hear someone's like angry from the moment you start. Like you've hardly even moved. Like, what are you doing? You know, I'm like, okay, you're not worth playing with.
Now, this
if
is
you're
your
in
brother, I assume you're playing with.
No, he's saying that to all the other guys. No, it's just you know, like the moment you get in and there's already someone trolling everyone, it's like you're kind of missing the point of how community works. You know, you're just YouTube commenting me to my face.
Yeah.
So you gotta find that. Likewise, I found a lot of generous people. You know, who I remember there was one game I played. I hopped online for like the first time, and someone I didn't know. I'm like, I'm just learning how to play this game. Apologies in advance.
Yep.
And he gives me a bunch of items he has, and that his kind of one on his account. Joel says that it is him, so yeah.
YouTube commenting me to my face. Perfect description.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, Bugos.
So I mean, so there's a reality to the generosity. So, and this is part of that doctoral paper that'll get written at one point. And Nappy is again this prime example of generosity. So that's real dollars that just got spent.
Yeah.
There's a reality to everyone here that has a face mask beside their screen has a subscription to this channel and has paid real money to be a part of this when they don't have to. They can honestly do this without somebody paying. You just get a commercial every however many minutes or whatever the case is, right? You can get the content with it, but they choose to. So there's an element there where they want to be in community with you, and part of being in community to them means, hey, I want to participate, not just come and smile at whatever's being said or scowl at what's being said. Sometimes, not gonna lie. The reality is that there's a lot of generosity going on, and again, for you guys to understand, Twitch just paid out to all the Twitch streamers that reached the threshold. And we reached that threshold. So you guys, again, helped Rise Above through your generosity here through subscriptions and bits and everything else, helped us to fund another week and a half of breakfast for the kids here at Rise Above. That's a real thing that you're doing. You're not just buying, pens and pencils for me to do my job. You're helping us to feed kids in the morning. So, I mean, that's one of the differences. Like you watch some of these other guys and their subscription money goes to new TVs and cars and everything else. For these guys, when they participate, they're actually impacting someone's life to the point where they're, really you're helping students to concentrate and do work and to improve their lives. So, I mean, yay for snacks. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, that's cool.
So how does, when you talk about your online gaming experience, have the responses from people to you, good or bad, increased your likelihood to play or decreased your likelihood to play? Has it somehow said, I'm just not touching that? That game is like new, or I love the interaction I get in that game type of thing?
Yeah, I mean, when you come in contact with a good community, or you put on a team with people who respect you and are being kind to you and whatnot, and really makes you want to keep playing with them, get to know them a little bit, and it feels like you're building some relationships. I know several people that I play with, know people from other states who they talk with all the time. They've never met them in real life, but they're just constant kind of video game pals who will jump online.
Well, I mean, Morgan lives in Antarctica, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
I mean,
you keep calling all of them by name and explain. Antarctica. Right. And keep a little bit of their background, though, their stories and whatnot, because the internet's not completely void of, it's complicated because when someone jumps on the phone for Facebook for like 4 hours, you're like, okay, you're ignoring the rest of the world around you. But at the same time, you're also acknowledging the rest of the world around you. Yeah. And it's kind of this weird contradiction of maybe it's more about balance than about just one or the other. So.
Yeah. Welcome back, Rabbi, by the way. Yeah, I mean, I think so. Sweetie, would you mind me talking about what you and I are working on right now? Just type in there yes or no if you're okay with me talking about what you and I are talking about off stream. Oh, awesome. So when we talk about generosity and this idea of sometimes you find good people, sometimes you find not so good people, right? Sometimes they're critiquing your, that YouTube chat, and sometimes you're like, hey, I really love what you're doing, and I saw you guys talking about this idea of yay for breakfast and all that kind of jazz. But the reality is, sometimes you find someone that says, hey, can I go one step further, right? So as an example, Sweetie and I on stream the other day, we were talking about something, and Sweetie said, hey, just a quick thing, I'd love to get involved. I'm actually in Michigan. Is it okay if we did like hats and mitts for the kids that Rise Above? And I'm like, yeah, let's have that conversation. So here we are. It was you and Batman, I think, Sweetie. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it was you and Batman that were talking about this idea of, great names, eh?
I just, with no context, is you and Batman were sorting out winter wear for.
No, I'm not calling you Sweetie Baggins. Sorry, buddy.
I'll call you Sweetie.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. But the reality is, so Sweetie and I are now talking about this idea of, there's a good chance she might be coming by to Rise Above to drop off hats and mitts for our kids at some point. Like, that's not just showing up to a stream and saying hi. That's functionally participating in the mission of the organization. That's not just finding somebody that is interested in your stream. That's somebody that is, going like up above and beyond to me through a video game.
Yeah.
So, when you talk about is it all bad? No, I think there's legitimately some great things that can come out of this environment that people are craving, and that's that conversation that I can't wait to have in depth at some point about what I believe people oftentimes they come initially in thinking, oh, what's this Twitch thing? I hear they play video games. All of a sudden, oh my gosh, there's some great people in here, right? And then they get watching personalities on stream like this Jamin guy that's staring at me on my computer right now and across from me. And they're like, hey, this guy's actually making some pretty good content and doing some neat things and produces these amazing videos that are hilarious,
Yeah.
So I just think there's real value. And I think of all the people that are in my chat right now, and I know all of you guys. I say we've never met. But the reality is, I think you guys know a tremendous amount about my organization and about the work that we do and the communities that we're a part of, and I think that's just fun to me. I think that's some of the value that's coming out of video games, quote unquote, video games, and the things that are going to change culturally. So when I ask about your kids and my kids, I think that's the fundamental shift that's going to take place. Is video games are no longer this quiet place that we go to, right, to escape the world. It's actually the place that's turning into where we go to get involved in the world.
Ready Player One. You see that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like kind of shows like the intensity of just how much it'll kind of build up over time.
Yeah. So so explain that a little bit. So for those that haven't seen it, explain what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, it's just everyone's got VR at this point. That's a normal way to play video games. The world is kind of just like, at least the way that they kind of show it, looks like the world's falling apart. It's telling a whole nother story, but like at least the connections you see through video games are these people going on adventures together who have met each other online. This guy's best friend is, he knows them online, knows their avatar. They hang out all the time, but never met anywhere, doesn't know their real name, doesn't know who they are, doesn't know some of the main components even about this person. But they're all good friends, and basically in another world that they've created, they're all kind of living like it's the real world. So while it's getting a lot of other themes when it's being told, I read the book to this one too. But while it tells a lot of other themes, what it does kind of show is just a lot of community being found in video games, virtual reality, and it's really not that far away from being reality to some elements of what that story tries to tell.
I don't think it's that far off either.
Yeah. Yep. Now, just to check, when Batman and Sweetie bring you your gloves and whatnot, do you have to do push-ups? 'Cause that's technically
Maybe
a
we should.
donation.
Maybe we should actually do a stream. Sweetie, what do you think about that? Should we actually have you come on stream and do like the transaction and stuff? Hey, what's up, Boost? Thanks for coming in, buddy. So is that going to be a thing when you drop the gloves off? Does that count as a dono? And thanks, you Nappy. And we're going to do an actual dono cam for all that. We'll lay all the gloves and hats down, and I'll do push-ups on top of the gloves. Or maybe you can just throw gloves at me while I do push-ups. Maybe that could be a
It
thing.
just keeps getting weirder.
Well, you got to make it. It's content. It's content.
All right.
And I don't think
It's happening.
transaction probably not the best word ever either.
Speaking of
Happy
push-ups,
stop.
Everything's
No, it doesn't
great.
count. It's only one.
Everything is awesome.
I don't know what that means.
It's got to be
but
4 or
okay.
mine. It's got to be 5 or more. Making it rain winter gear. That's so awesome. I think that's a great idea. Look at Nappy's like, got that Choco Taco. Well, so let's see. What's my next question here? Would you encourage, at this point in your life, knowing all the infinite wisdom that Jamin Bradley has, would you encourage or discourage somebody from getting into the whole video game world culture, online or otherwise?
Well, I mean, for me, it's part of a way of life. So, like, I do think about this when we were talking about what kind of churches are we going to start, and one of those churches is like Nerd Church. A lot of people came to me with other kinds of churches of interest to them. So, like something like a car church or something.
Yeah.
People who like cars.
Work
I'm
on
like,
cars or
yeah, I understand that, and think about ways that you could flesh that out. When I think of nerd culture and people play video games, I'm not just thinking of reaching like people who like video games. I'm actually thinking of reaching like a certain kind of community that I know already who, at least when it comes to conversations of the Bible, they're going to have more questions than some others, or they're going to push back a little harder. And for me, like, that's fine. Let's go there, because that's the kind of stuff that I like to look into and chat about anyways.
Yeah.
And a lot of nerds are either going to be on a kind of atheistic side or on a spiritualist kind of
a
side.
deep spiritual side, yeah.
Yeah, so like I know both capacities, and I've written books both towards the science-minded individual as well as a spiritual-minded individual. So like for me, it's just like all of these for me are components of nerdism. And I find
it's
it
an easy
in,
conversation.
Yeah, I find it in my Christianity, not apart from it. It's for me, it's a part of the kind of person that I am, not like something that you could do if you wanted, If I turn on a TV, I'm going to go right to the Sci-Fi Channel or something else. I mean, not always these days because I don't have cable, but I'm looking for something that's going to tell a Stranger Things type story that's going to make me think outside the box and push me to ask good questions and whatnot. Not because I want, like, I just want to be weird, but like,
Yeah, I get that.
this is part of the way that my mind is wired. So would I encourage people into it? I still think there's discernment as to, like, you don't just embrace a whole culture, but you start to look at it and figure out what's good and what's not, and allow what pieces of you that might be in that area to be a part of your Christianity or your life
Faith
in whatever
journey.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Yep.
And sweetie, but FYI, when you said I don't know if I'll watch the stream seems weird, the reality is it's only weird if you introduce Jello and Speedos. So beyond that, everyone will watch anything. So we're good. Rabbit Fair, the legit question in my life. My wife was recently relegated with a horror story about a bratty kid in Fortnite. She basically reacted like obsession was. Yeah, I get that. I'm going to skip Andy's question because Andy.
Which one's Andy? Is this
Ali
PUBG question?
Letton with the 19 beside his name. Yeah, I don't even know how to say his whatever the Twitch name is.
You can pray for whatever you want. See what
Yeah,
happens.
Whatever, kid.
Hasn't worked for me on
Hasn't worked for
Overwatch.
me. It's not working yet for me. I don't know. I still suck. I actually feel like we have a clear idea about introducing religion. Yeah, true enough, and I think that's the. It's such an emerging culture, and that's such a buzzword. But the reality is, it is legitimately an emerging, and I don't even know that I would say culture. It's an emerging community. In the sense of how people are learning to interact with each other. This idea of, emotes themselves. It's not even what you're typing. You're using pictures very often to demonstrate, and we do it all the time. Like you go through and for those of you who are subscribed, which I think is all of you for the most part, throw the emotes in chat just so we have an idea of you can have full sentences with emotes.
Yeah. I've watched this guy show up so many times
Yeah,
in the last 2 hours.
He's, I do it all the time, and I've even gotten to the point. Thank you, sweetie. I've even gotten to the point where those are all the risk immersed, the channel emotes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've even gotten to the point now where people know me as the clip master because I've got a clip for everything. Because in Twitch you can clip little, either 5-second or up to 30-second clips.
Yep.
And I've got a clip for everything,
Gotcha.
And something happens on stream, somebody says a certain name or a certain thing happens, I can pull up a clip in 30 seconds and make it relatable to whatever's been happening. So when we talk about community, I think there's a reality that people are still uncertain how the interplay is supposed to happen. When we talk about relationships, you and I have a functional physical relationship in the sense that you know where I live, I know where you live, we bump into each other in church regularly, we see each other in the street, we interact with organizational elements of our everyday lives. In the reality is, I can read your facial expression when we talk. And I know enough about you personality-wise and personally that when I say certain things in chat, you'll know whether I'm being serious or whether I'm being facetious. And even whether I say it in stream, you'll know whether it's in character, out of character. And because we can have a different personality in chat and on stream than we can in actual life.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is an actual character.
A few years of radio will teach you that. The mic goes on, different person.
Yeah.
Same with video games for a lot of people. It's like, don't know the people on the other end. I'm either going to be the person that I am when I play games, or I'm not going to see the way that people are reacting to the way I'm talking and not know how they're responding. So,
and I mean, for the most part, for myself, I am who I am. When I'm on stream, that's who I am in real life. My assertiveness, my jovial, whatever nature or lack thereof, because some people say I'm very sometimes, and I mean, even if I asked you, I bet you would probably say the same thing, that I can be pretty rigid sometimes. It's just who I am personality-wise. But the reality is, I'm trying not to give you guys anything different than what anybody else gets from me. But for most people in this platform and on video games, it's different. It's not the same. And we misread each other and get upset with each other super easy in this platform. And it's so easy to just stop talking to each other because I'm just not going to chat. When so-and-so comes in the chat room, I'm just going to leave. I'm going to go watch somebody else, or I'm going to go do something else. And I think that a lot of stuff goes unresolved because of that. And I think a lot of people with good intentions often are left behind socially, community-wise, because we do not know how to resolve conflict yet in this platform.
oh yeah, for sure.
Because again, we're trying to keep up a persona on stream, and then somebody gets actually offended in real life, and a lot of times we don't have a way to communicate with each other outside of the platform because we don't know each other's cell phone numbers. I mean, I know a couple, we get to know each other fairly well, some of us, but the reality is, and even then, the reality is we still only know each other through the stream. We're still only talking via text message or a cell phone conversation. We still don't know each other. And you and I know each other fairly well, but I still don't think you actually know me, and I don't actually know you very well. And we've known each other for a number of years. So now put it in this context.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a recipe for a lot of people getting emotionally wounded, socially wounded.
All my friends making fun of me right now in the chat. Thanks, guys. Love you.
And that's, for me, I don't take anything that's said in chat or on stream.
No, I was
I don't, whatever is said in this
joking,
in this
like
realm,
always.
I know they're all joking.
Did you just
There is
tell
not a
all
serious-
your listeners that you don't take them seriously?
There is
that
not a
what you said?
serious person in this room, I'm telling you right now. But the reality is, I don't think we know each other well enough to take each other serious. And I think that until we get to a place where VR is a thing and you're standing in an actual room and you're meeting each other through VR now because you have cameras with your VR and you're actually projecting your image into this room instead of just standing there and you see your hands. You're actually seeing the whole person. Until we get to that point, I don't know that this can ever adequately represent what you and I are doing right now, this face-to-face thing.
Yep.
And I think that socially we're setting ourselves up for some conundrum that is yet to be fully realized by people. And sorry that changed the subject a little bit, but I think it still applies to the whole gaming culture.
Yeah, I would agree.
So, what games are you playing right now? When? Andy? Right now.
Right now, this moment, I'm just playing, was it Shadow of War or Shadow of Mordor? It's the Lord of the Rings.
Explain.
It was the latest Lord of the Rings game. I haven't been playing it very long, though. I don't know how immersed in it I am yet. But otherwise, with the VR, Beat Saber. Maybe Joel can remind me all the games I'm playing of. At Nerd Church last week we played Towerfall, which is just your little archers, you jump on each other's heads and shoot each other. Yeah, it's a little 8-bit game. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But all kinds of games: Celeste, Smash Bros, Zelda, Luigi's Mansion, just whatever comes along. Interested in Death Stranding and The Outer Worlds, if anybody has seen those games, as well as the Fallen
The
Jedi.
new Star Wars.
Yeah, the new Star Wars one. They're all on sale, I saw
Steam.
at the moment, so now's the time for me to freak out. But Fallen Order, thank you. Appreciate that. As far as the finding appropriate games for church, sometimes we do have free gaming at the end of the night from 8 to 9. We do have a rule because all ages can be here.
Yeah.
Don't bring mature games, at least. We also try to make it clear to any younger kids, like, this isn't a youth group per se, so your parents need to know, like, we're not
We're not babysitting
as
you
careful
for,
as we need to be.
Yep.
But yeah, so finding appropriate games has actually been pretty easy for church because there's a lot of games out there, and a lot of the multiplayer ones, at least within what we've been looking at, are fairly simple. But we do it video game, then board game / party game, then video game.
Yeah.
So it's every other week. And tonight, I'm excited. Do you ever play any RPGs, Neil?
Yeah.
Like Final Fantasy? Or...
Yeah. Used to. I've not recently, but Final Fantasy was one of the first good games I would say I got years ago.
Okay. So we're turning that into dodgeball. So think about it this way.
And hang on a second. Just for the record, we're getting in trouble in chat for leaving that other conversation way too fast.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to go back to it after we talk about Final Fantasy Dodgeball.
Okay. I'm just giving examples of
because I don't like getting in
games
trouble.
we find at church. So this one is you have a bunch of different colored balls in dodgeball, and each one represents like a different kind of attack. So if you throw the blue ball at someone and you hit them, their feet are then frozen to the floor and they can't move.
Oh,
but
I
if
see
someone
what
else
you're
pulls
doing.
up the red ball, which is a fireball, if you hit the person who's frozen, they're unfrozen.
Got you.
But the red ball also does damage as long as it's bouncing around. So
are
if
you doing
anyone
that in
touches
your?
it,
Are you doing that in your warehouse space, or are you going to a school?
We're just gonna wipe out all the tables in the sanctuary.
You're not worried about breaking your lights with dodgeballs?
I'm worried about breaking the wall of windows we made, but I may have come up with some
Jamin,
ideas to refrain
this
from this
might
happening.
be a poor decision. I'm just going to say this now.
No. We did something similar with hockey there once. So.
Hockey almost is acceptable because the puck should stay on the ground or the ball should.
But there were Nerf guns involved too.
Oh, okay. So
So
that's a different conversation.
yeah. What were we supposed to talk about?
Sweetie wants to know if she can get in on this dodgeball thing. Technically, you can. Kalamazoo's
can
only
tonight.
an hour and a bit away.
It's not far.
So okay, so let's get back to the question because you all want to get back to the whole. So, Rabbi, you ask, but that's true of any medium. Being in person is better than being on the telephone, which is better than texting real time, blah, 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 which is still better than writing emails. So, yes, there's always going to be a better or best case scenario to any conversation. But what I'm saying in the context of Twitch is very often it's not safe to go beyond the current medium that you have. So take Choco Taco, which most of us know who Choco Taco is. He's got streamer's got about 12,000 plus subs. What is he? Probably 14,000 ish subs. It's not practical for him to share his cell phone or to do, hey, sweetie, let's go meet, down the street and talk about this at the coffee shop. It's not practical because really it's impossible for him to know everybody. So at some point, if he says something that is indeed offensive to somebody. I think, Nappy, it might have been you and I who had this conversation. in the context of Chaco. You know, when he first came out, I and Nappy and several of you actually were there right in the beginning, before he kind of made it the big time. And we used to have very in-depth personal conversations with this guy. But there's a reality. At some point, he becomes bigger than the individual. He is now a personality on stream, and he has to play for the masses. And so you lose that. Now, is it possible, because what Chaco was always really good at was saying, hey, so-and-so, thanks for the 8-month resub, you know, blah, 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 whatever the case is. Well, my 2-year resub for him came up this year, and he missed it. I think, Rabbi, you were actually there, and you actually went back and tried to get him to say it and a bunch of other things, and thank you for that. But the reality is, I need to be okay with that. He's got 14,000 other people that he's got to maintain, plus the thousands of people who just watch and who aren't even subbed. You know, when you got 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 people in chat at any given time, context can be lost quickly. You know, and if you go to a stage event where you're in the audience and the guy on stage says something that you find offensive, it would be wrong for me to take it personal. Even if it's directed at me. I'm thinking of a comedy act almost. Because you can't take it personal, because he doesn't know you. He made a statement to you, but he can't possibly be offending you because he doesn't know you to be offensive. Now, he can offend you morally or something to that effect. I'm not saying that you can't ever be offended by what somebody says, but just to take it personal is the depth of what I'm getting at.
Yeah, well, there's different positions. Your words come across differently depending on what you're doing, you know. So when I'm on a stage preaching, to some extent, people expect me to say something they're probably going to disagree with. And so they're prepared for that. And if they're open to it, they'll think over what I said anyways and come to some conclusion later. Whereas if I'm talking to their face and I realize they disagree with me, I may not even really get into that because I know, like, I already know where you stand. I don't feel that me talking about it's going to necessarily change your mind or even benefit you. You know what I think already anyways, so why would I even get into that? So I know those conversations, like for me on a stage versus me in person versus me in counseling versus me one-on-one with an accountability partner is all different versions of myself and what I can give. Same thing online, you know, like certain elements of me are going to come out that don't come out in those other places. But then there's certain elements of me that maybe won't make it. It's not that there can't be depth there, even with a stranger. In the same way, you know, I guess if you thought of it ancient times, you might have a pen pal, someone who, ancient times, that still happens today. In which you're writing to someone you don't know at all. Someone you don't know at all that you're writing to. You've got to know them pretty well, and when you see them, you're going to cry your eyes out and hug each other. Oh, man, I love you.
I think that was a veiled "you are old" joke.
not intentionally.
So,
but, yeah, if you follow me.
So, Boo Ghost, you disagree, and I understand why you disagree. That is completely different between the two relationships. So, and again, for me, the context I'm working within is this idea of Twitch relationships, where you and I, you know, we met because I used to come to your stream and we met in Chaco's, whatever the case was, you know, and you know, if I ever say something that's offensive to you, my hope would be that you wouldn't take it necessarily personal in the sense that it's a personal attack at you. Now, you might not agree with it, you might disagree with what I'm saying, much like you disagreed with the statement I made. But I hope it wouldn't change our relationship. You know what I'm saying to you? Because it's okay to disagree. As a matter of fact, I encourage disagreement. That's why we do the stream, because I want to grow and learn as an individual. I want my thoughts to be challenged. You know, so I feel like when we're talking about stuff on stream, and yes, even though we do meet some of these streamers at TwitchCon and all these different places, I still don't think it's the level of or the depth of relationship that somebody like your good friend that you've known since middle school type thing. You know, I don't think you can ever necessarily achieve that depth through this medium. I think we strive for it. I think it's something we all want, but I just don't think we can. Right now today, I am unsure whether we can get there, and I think it causes a lot of difficulties and a lot of misunderstandings because we don't have the depth of relationship to really truly understand who it is that we're talking. Because again, we're talking about personas and characters that we're projecting a lot of times.
Yeah.
So, cut me off whenever if you want to add something to this. If you're reading something, I mean, these
No,
people
you're
don't
good.
know where
I
you
think
live. So,
part of what you're saying is you can build some really quality relationships online. You're not saying that that's
I'm not saying it's
impossible.
impossible.
You're just saying like
I'm just saying
there is something to
it
the
creates a
physicality.
conundrum when there comes a disagreement on something, or when we don't feel as though we have met a certain obligation that is traditionally held in a normal relationship, right? With regards to reciprocation on things and in that nature. And so what happens in the Twitch world or the online world is we can miss some of those cues that we get in a traditional relationship that would not lend us to believe, oh, that's intentional, or he's trying to attack me, to the point where, on this platform, those cues are missed, and therefore it ends up being a bigger disagreement than it should have been in the first place.
And the more you get to know people, the more that you can read those cues even in text. Like if my wife doesn't add a question mark, I know she's upset about something because she's grammatically correct about things. Likewise, if Sweetie, when you said, "Do you mind if I share that?" She said, "Not at all." For me, I'm like, does she mean not at all or not at all? No, not at all. Do not share that, or the opposite. But you know her well enough to know the first implication of what that would be. So it just takes time to kind of discern and grow. But yeah, I understand what you're saying about.
And again, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying this is where I feel about the subject at the moment, right? So again, this is the context of why Twitch for me exists in this platform.
Likewise, you can have a lot of great relationships online and horrible relationships in person sometimes.
Amen to that. And so Rabbi points to that. This idea that in real life I have one relationship. There's one person that I know really well and that I can kind of bleed my heart out on and say this is outside of my wife. My wife is a very special relationship. I'm talking about a traditional best friend type scenario. And this idea that, in that scenario, when we were talking, Rabbi was on stream with me last week. And in that conversation, I talked about how everyone else is an acquaintance. And I would throw you into that mix because it's not like we're on hey, you call every Friday night to see how things are going and see how I'm checking on my kids. And, I heard your kid got, a goal. That's not normal. Even though I consider you a friend, it's not the depth of friendship that I'm necessarily referring to in these conversations. It's this idea that, if we see each other in the street, I don't, throw rocks at you. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
there was that one time.
about that.
But I mean, this idea that, for me, friendship invokes this idea of depth. It brings about this almost nostalgic feeling of when you're a kid and you're sitting out with your buddy and you've walked what seems like miles and it's probably just down the street to the local fishing hole and you're sitting there doing whatever.
I don't know where you grew up.
Yeah, I grew up in the sticks.
The local fishing hole.
That was a reality for me.
I lived in a village, man. We didn't have no local fishing hole.
Yeah, I did. I love Sweeties. Calm down. It's paper and pen, not smoke signals. So let's read through checks. I've really ignored chat today. Oh my gosh, Jamin, you gotta.
I think you've hit pretty much
Give me some
everything.
cues, man.
When I look down and smile, it means I'm reading something that was funny. So there's your cue.
But I know plenty of people.
You're looking at my face. You're supposed to be on a deeper relationship with me based on what you're saying. So you should be reading my cues right now.
So Abugos, so let's talk about that. So I ask you guys, what is it about Twitch that you feel either gives us access to or prevents us from having the depth of relationship, quote unquote, that we're talking about? Because I think that's important, because that's really what it comes down to. Because if you have depth of relationship, then where there's depth, you can have grace and understanding, right? When things are shallow, there's no grace, there's no understanding. So when hard times come, if you have none of that, there's a word I want to throw out here, resiliency, because you have depth. When trauma comes in some way, whether it's a misunderstanding, an argument, whatever, even if it's something savage, you're more likely to recover the relationship. That's what I'm talking about. In this environment, the danger, my concern is, if I were to say something, even in the context of this stream, if we have a disagreement on something, my concern is it could damage what I think would be a good relationship with some of the, because everybody in this chat right now are people that I really enjoy talking to in chat and being a part of in the communities that we're a part of here. So
I think maybe what my brother's saying here too. Lived in a long distance relationship with my wife while we were in college. We could certainly make texting work, but it took a lot more work to make sure communication was streamlined appropriately. I think that's really the core of what you're getting at. Like, yes, relationship worked. Even they're married now, so like it worked, got them through. But without the physicality, maybe there's little elements here and there that would be lacking to help it further. Which the good news is now technology keeps growing, so maybe to some extent, we can connect a lot closer and without proximity than we used to be able to. Like there was a level of technology.
Times have definitely changed.
When my dad wanted to tell my mom good night in a long distance relationship, and long distance phone calls were a thing, he had to call, let it ring, hang up after 2 rings, and those 2 rings were a way of saying good night, I love you.
Without paying the long distance fees.
Yeah, so like that's a version of technology that like communicates something but doesn't go quite deep enough. And today we have things that go so much deeper with technology.
You got video chat. And
Yeah. So it's like so much more. And to some extent, I don't know how old everyone is that's talking with us, but they're growing up with a level of technology that we didn't. So they know probably, like my son is always going to know that video chat was a thing, So like his level of...
The vast majority of people in here are adults.
Yeah.
There's only been one that was...
Yeah, so for at least younger people, their level of connection through technology are going to be a lot higher than letting the phone ring a few times, and they're going to be so much more used to creating relationships around that. But I think, one day there's going to be a lot of reports probably looking back at all these, what was life like before technology took over, and what were our relationships like? Were they better, worse, deeper, shallower? And we'll probably catch
in
on.
Rabbi, I would say that I'm talking about Twitch as in a generality, as a generality, in the sense that I'm talking about all social media platforms in general. I'm just saying Twitch because this is the medium I'm currently in the middle of, But I think that is cross-platform description, not necessarily just a singular thing. Wow, you guys are really chatty. I love it. So we hit a chord, Jamin.
They're all disagreeing with you.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I suck. Sometimes I don't suck. I get it. And again, that's the point of this for me. So again, if I'm to write a research paper, we have to go through all of the things. So, and I think I agree with what Fawcett and Abu Ghost are saying, that again, the medium is one part of it. Time in frequency is another part, and there's a whole bunch of links in this chain. So did you think we were going to be, when we started the whole gaming topic, did you think we were going to be getting here? This is my normal conversation.
Follow your lead, man.
This is my normal conversation.
You normally talk about...
we normally do really in-depth conversations.
Gotcha.
We try to go deep.
Well, I grew up with message boards as my... Before we had instant messenger and all these things.
Like Reddit type things.
Yeah, and I knew all these people by their... knew them by their name. Well, not their names. Knew them by their... handles, and knew who they were, would run into them at events. They were good friends. Some of them were jerks, but... no, just kidding. You can always tell when Neil's reading something and not listening.
I'm totally. They might be jerks. I'm listening to you.
Well, just because you could say it back doesn't mean you were listening with your heart, though.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
This is the part where I throw this emote in and go, I'm a bad man.
This is where I just throw out a lot of heresy and you're not listening and you just agree. Yeah, good, yeah.
Because I feel bad for not reading my chat.
Thanks for calling me chill. It's actually just my voice. It's really boring to listen to.
So relaxing. But no, there is a reality to that, though. I mean, because again, I'm old enough to know when that culture emerged. Because I'm at the weird age where I was solidly not in the tech age, and I am solidly in the tech age. Like half of my life was no tech. The other half of my life is all tech.
The other half of your
that's what it feels like.
Life is what you
that's what it feels like some days. Oy. I know, sweetie, I'm trying. What's up, Inspector Gadget? Thanks for joining in.
Do you not have a button for that?
I do somewhere. What is it?
You really do? You have an Inspector Gadget button?
No, not Inspector Gadget.
Thanks for tuning in.
Oh, okay.
That's the one I got. So, but Abu Ghost talks about blind people. So people with visual impairments. Just because I can't see you doesn't mean I can't be in a relationship. But again, I guess part of the conversation then becomes, what does it mean to see somebody? Because I mean, we just talked about this whole idea of Skype and everything else. Is that the same? Is just hearing somebody's voice the same as seeing somebody? Was it Shaquille O'Neal that called out Stevie Wonder the other day? Did anybody else hear about this? Shaquille O'Neal said he questions whether Stevie Wonder is actually blind.
Why?
Because Shaquille was in the elevator. Stevie Wonder gets in the elevator. And again, there's no timeline to this. It could have been over 15 minutes. It could have been in 30 seconds. It could have been 2 seconds. Who knows? But the way he explains it, the way the article explains it is, Shaq's in the elevator. Stevie Wonder gets in the elevator. Stevie Wonder pushes the button for the floor he needs to get to, and proceeds to say, oh, "Hey, Shaq, what's up, man?" Shaquille's like, "What? How the heck do you even know what floor to push, for one? And two, how did you know I was in the elevator?" Because again, the assumption is Shaq didn't say anything. I mean, we don't know whether he...
Are they friends?
Yeah, fake news, sweetie. I don't know.
Maybe he has a certain kind of Shaq cologne.
Yeah, and that's what I played it up to, is that, is that Shaq, we don't know the story, that he's run into him 40 other times in the elevator. He's had the same cologne for his whole life, and who knows, But yeah, I mean, I think there is a depth to this, as is noted by the level of conversation in chat. Usually we talk in like 2 or 3 word sentences, and now we're getting full paragraphs here. To the idea that there is a depth to this, and this gets to why I feel this is so important, because just watching you guys respond is showing me that this is a thing that we need to talk about. Like, it's not just about video games. People are here and are emotionally involved in a way that is important to recognize. And I think that as I've been talking to other streamers, they're trying to figure out, and this is where I get a lot of most of my private messages are saying, Neil, how do I move this thing forward? And I've said to a handful of people, maybe even more, where I've said, when your chat takes over and they're no longer talking to you, but they're talking amongst themselves, that's when you know you've arrived. When they're greeting each other as, "Hey fam, what's going on?" or "Hey guys," and they're talking about what they did on the weekend and all that kind of stuff. It's changed from, "Hey, I'm here to watch you play video games," to, "I'm here from the social environment." Mm-hmm. And that, to me, is when you really things start to change, and you've invented a culture or community. And I should scroll down because you guys are probably all talking trash to me right now.
No, I just like that emote. We did it, chat.
Yeah, that's a Chaco emote. Yeah. So I think there's some depth there. That, just to add an anecdote, I met one of your Twitch friends IRL, and it was surprising how normal it felt. Oh, one of your Twitch. Okay. They were just the same as they were online. Spent a few days together and showed me around. Okay, and I'm not saying that's not a thing. Yep. That can Abu Ghost, that can totally be a thing, but there could also be that guy, just as easily, where you're like, "Hey, it's this guy online," then it's totally something different. Mm-hmm. And I love that you're all engaged. Like, are you like physically engaged? Are you like getting married in June, like Morg meme is, or are you like just talking about engaged, like
Sweetie's
involved?
engaged to Batman.
Sweetie's engaged. That could be a thing.
Turned into a drama bomb.
What does that Fawcett says? I think that it's also a function of how we even.
Hold up. Oh, sorry. I didn't
What?
mean
Are
to
you
cut
serious? No, you're all right, sweetie. Are you serious? Do tell.
Because this changes everything.
Everything.
Neil's wrong about everything.
100% now.
You just met someone on Twitch and now you're marrying them.
Wow.
And they're Batman.
What? That's a conversation. Well, great stream, everybody. Thank you very much. I'm just kidding. I would not end the stream on that. That's so trash.
I didn't know what was going on.
Jamin's like, "What the hell's happening right now?"
Neil has lost all of his points. He's out. He's gone. Hi, I'm Jamin, and I'm taking over now.
Speaking of which,
as it ends up, you're all right and Neil is wrong. Catch you all later.
I just want to point out that I am number 4 on my own points board. How is that a thing? I have a points board, as most streamers do, and I am 4. How am I 4 on my own leaderboard?
What does that mean? That you gave yourself the most money?
It's not that. It's chat. It's everything. And I did originally gift myself a whole bunch of subscriptions because I wanted emotes.
I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah, totally. That's the way you get them, and it's all based on subscriptions and all that crap. So the first week, as soon as I got affiliate, I gave myself some subs so I could have like 5 or 6 emotes. Anyways, sad world we live in. So yeah, I mean, I think there's a reality to all of that. So streaming a wedding so everyone can join. Are we? So hang on, sweetie. Are we joking? Are we totally serious? Did you
Neil needs
seriously
to know if he's wrong or not.
Yeah, because I mean, if you're just being toxic,
You have a button for that?
I do. It's on the screen already.
We're all waiting. She's left now, and you don't get your money and your gloves.
It's not for me. It's for the. It's when nobody think of the children.
Oh, Batman.
Batman, are you serious, bro? So hang on a second. Back up. Sweetie and Batman, is that a real thing? Are we just messing with Nina, with Risk now? Because this isn't. Hey, come tune in so you can mess with Risk. Is this a real thing? It is or it isn't? Rabbi's back. That's good. Yeah, because I stream and he came in when I first started. You're serious? Wait a second. Yay! That's so
Pixar,
awesome.
it didn't happen.
Yeah, Pixar, it didn't happen. True enough.
Okay, but if I don't see an actual Batman in that picture, I'm not going to believe it in the first place.
Yeah, it's so true, Fawcett. That's all you guys do. I mean, true story, I mess with everybody else in everybody else's stream, so. Point in case, all the so-and-so farts on stream videos that I clip all the time. If there's like a weird noise in the background or something, Jamin, I clip it and I say so-and-so caught farting on stream.
Oh,
and
all right.
then I just spam it in their chat every time. It's great.
It wasn't me. It was that news guy. Did you see that video?
I did.
Good times.
Good times.
Also,
Okay.
I'm breaking this. I'm sorry.
You're
got
completely okay.
really
it's
intense
Henry
with
Ford
it.
Allegiance Health. They break.
After
they
I
break.
got the news of Batman and Sweetie engaged, I just started ripping it apart.
Okay, so Batman, are you gonna come deliver the goodies with Sweetie then, and come on stream? Because that would be super cool from my standpoint.
Giving time for delay.
Come on in. So how would you? So while they're delaying and answering that amazing question, I must say, if Jamin Bradley had unlimited resources and could make any video game he wanted to make in the world, that video game would be.
I don't make video games, man. I just play them. I don't know how to respond to that. I would make the music for the video game.
Is that what you would do? Well,
Yeah, I got
that's
a few
legit
friends
answer.
who have talked about wanting to make apps, and I've really wanted to make like a chiptune soundtrack to something, so that would be right up my alley.
That is not right up my alley. None of that is right up my alley. I am not a video game
You
techie
can
guy.
write something else, and I'll do the music.
Absolutely.
You can write the controversial questions that Batman and Sweetie can then discredit with their real-world lives.
Abu Ghost says he's got a video game that needs music.
Talk to me. Let's make it happen.
We can do this.
As long as you can make the game.
What's the? I know people.
Neil's got a Minecraft guy. Don't forget this. Everybody needs a Minecraft guy.
Yeah, it's very music focused too. Well, hey, we know a guy who has some producing abilities and also has some twinging abilities.
I just want to point out that your chat once again is bringing people together to build real relationships and work on projects
community, Jamin.
in
Community.
deeper ways that you maybe thought weren't possible. I'm just gonna.
Duty. Welcome back, Morg Meme. The first word she says, duty.
Excellent.
Morg, you are precious. Hopefully you've gotten your car situation situated. And best game of all time and why?
Oh, Earthbound.
Why?
One of the first, most creative games ever out there. It put everything in a hodgepodge, wrapped it all up, and released it, and it's beautiful, and you'll cry. And it's super old, and it still hits a chord.
Chat, best game ever, why? And do you agree with him?
And if you don't say Earthbound, you're all wrong.
Get wrecked, nerd. Best game ever. Why? Controversial question. Sweet potato? Yes or no? Get out of here.
Does it have cinnamon sugar on it?
Does it have?
Is my first question.
Yeah,
Chrono Trigger?
Veronica just got into that. You know Chrono Trigger?
I haven't played it, but Jobo Baggin, I think, has. I hear good things.
I'm a no on the sweet potato myself. I'm a no. Well, Chad, here's your chance. Any questions for the Jamin?
The Jamin.
For the man, the myth, the gaming legend.
Metal Gear Solid 3.
I was a Metal Gear Solid fan. I won't lie on that one. I was pretty in deep.
I was not, because I am the least stealthy person on the face of the planet.
Just run through.
I do, and I die because games like that, either that or I
wanna go
destroy it.
faster.
There are times where I just race through a level because it wasn't designed to be played that way,
It
and they
needs you to
don't
go
know how
slow.
to account for it. So always start that first. Favorite Stranger Things character? Oh, man.
Who's your fave character?
I mean, Dusty's pretty great, but probably Hopper's pretty great. 11, Hopper, Dusty, somewhere between those three. That wasn't helpful at all. Oh,
You know what's
back
even
to
less helpful?
Skyrim.
I've never seen it in my life. Morgan me now officially is going to hate me.
Now it's time.
That's too funny.
You can still watch it. It's all there.
It is. The interwebs keep everything forevers.
It's true.
So, so where do we find more great Jamin Bradley videos?
I usually keep up to date with whatever I'm doing at jaminbradley.com, so you can find my books and videos and blog posts there. Otherwise, 1208greenwood.com, 1208. That's our church where we've got our nerd church, the Discord link, dinner church, empowerment houses, reveal conference, just all kinds of things that our church has coming up in the next few months or so. So
Cool. And you're welcome to type those into chat if you want to. I don't think there's any restrictions on.
okay, it'll come up as you though, right?
Yeah,
This
that's
is
fine.
your phone.
That's fine.
It tells me I can't be abusive.
Yeah. Just don't say you hate Risk Immersed.
I would never.
Can
do
you hate
that.
yourself? I don't know if I can hate myself or not.
Do
struggling right now.
This is your phone. Do I have subscribes I can just give to everyone? Do you have to
No.
do push-ups if I do it?
You do.
Mm.
You do.
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, that's your phone, man.
You're sitting in that chair, so it's a thing.
Now I have questions. All right. Links are up.
So Abugo says, what game do you use as your gateway for non-gamers?
Ooh.
Is it like a Mario type game that you use that's kind of like entry level stuff, or
Thanks, sweetie. Yeah, that's a good question. I would probably go with a story game. Like Heavy Rain's too intense for the average person, but if you can find it, actually a lot of the story games are by definition too intense because they want you to be afraid of the decisions you're making. But something like
Wii Sports?
maybe Detroit Beyond Human was Heavy Rain's most
Heavy
recent
Rain?
sequel.
Yeah.
So that one's like making decisions that are not quite as painful to make. So that would be a good, if you don't play a lot of video games, you'd at least get used to a unique way of entering it without having to really play. You're just making decisions.
Let's be honest. The only game on Wii Sports anybody ever wants to play is the 100-pin bowling. Let's just be
That's what
honest
I
with
was gonna
ourselves.
say. I don't know about the 100 pin, but the bowling at least. All you got to do, twist your wrist to the right while lifting up. You'll get a strike every time if you do that from the right side of the screen. Just like this.
Everyone,
Just like this.
everyone,
Got to get the habit.
follow the.
Yeah. Oh.
It's all about the
But good times.
good times.
Man of Medan is, that one's intense. I tried that one the other day. I accidentally killed the famous guy who's in all those TV shows. I forget his name.
So does that mean you lose the game?
No. I mean, technically, you always get to the end. The question is, or are you happy with your ending?
I like those games. There's a game right now. It's kind of like a scarier horror game. One of the OG Pickle guy did it as a Halloween stream, and it has alternate endings. And I like those games. That it's
Yep.
not a linear thing that everyone's going to see the same thing. That if you play it slightly different, there's the possibility of seeing a different.
Yep. Do you know what game that was?
What was the OG Pickle game? I'd have to pull up Steam. Let me see if I can pull up Steam real quick, if nobody else can tell me. It was a horror game. You're breaking my heart. That's too funny. See if this will let me in. No, it wants me to put a Steam.
Pockles.
Wants me to put a Steam.
It's fine.
to it.
It's fine. I was just
I
curious.
can't do it.
Fallout Games. Talk to Inoculant about that. He's super into that one.
Yeah. I'll see if I can Google it. Oops.
Man, I have a lot of more like current favorite games. I just can't think of what any of them are. At the
Blair
moment.
Witch.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
Blair
haven't
Witch.
played that one.
Yeah, it was pretty. It's pretty good, but it has several different endings. Silent Hill was another game that I got into for a little bit too. The
That one
original
was-
Silent Hill, not the. And I'll be honest with you, I literally couldn't, I had difficulty playing the game.
Yep.
For the main reason was our gaming setup was in the basement of our home, and creepy.
You were too scared to play.
I was a grown man, fearful of a video game.
Yeah. I remember playing a game once just by myself in my house, and I screamed. I screamed at the top of my lungs. I knew nothing, just had something chasing me, and it was overwhelming.
It can be creepy. Some of those games are done really well.
Yeah.
And especially since the graphics are getting so good now. I couldn't imagine doing a game like that in VR.
Actually, that's Dead Space is what I'm talking about. That's the one that made me scream. And then Resident Evil 2, I played that with my friend. We just went back and forth not too long ago. That one was good. But that's also the kind of game that freaks me out when things just follow you around and you can't get away from it.
Can't
and you
get
can
away.
hear it breathing.
Yeah,
That's when
yeah.
I kind of lose my mind.
Is Dead Space on Steam or what is that?
Dead Space was PlayStation, I want to say. But it's the first one.
Oh, so you can't get it on PC.
I don't remember. It was EA. So
Oh, look, it is
might
EA.
be.
Yeah, it is an EA game.
The first one was good. Second one went overboard for my what I felt I could handle.
Yeah.
And then the third one was just weird.
So last question of the stream. If in the context of video games, knowing all the options that are on the table, from Twitch to the online community to the different genres and whatnot, if there's one thing that you could do to make video games better for you, what would that thing be that would make your video game experience better?
I think just creativity is always the element that I'm kind of looking for. And that can be expressed in any way.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people think if the game's creative, it's a different kind of way of playing.
Yeah.
Like in Flower, you're just a bunch of flowers in the wind flying around, moving a controller. That's cool and whatnot. But creativity can be found in story, can be found in the way it's told and the graphic design.
Yeah.
And everything. Those things are just, that element always opens me up to just, I don't know, having a really good experience and trying to walk away from the game and feel like it's still in my mind, still going through it.
Yeah, and for me, that part of the answer to that, as I wrote that question out, is this idea of, what is that thing that when I play a game feels like it immerses me in the game, that I feel like genuinely a part of the game, whether it's simple flower thing flying around or whether it's a first-person shooter or whatever the case is. What makes me feel as though I'm functionally in the game, and included. That's why I think the VR experience is going to be next level once they nail down the mechanics of how to get it to work. And some of the tech now is getting really, really good. And
It's already so surreal. You think of one more generation of consoles, and VR is going to be.
These are the times I hope and pray that I live to be 150 years old. 'Cause that's just.
because you want to see the fallout it's going to create, or because you want to experience
Because
it
I'm
for
telling you,
yourself?
I'm going to be right. This chat's going to come full circle. And I'm going to... No.
They're getting married, man.
That's awesome. So, yeah, so the invites are in the mail, I assume, Batman and Sweetie. So that's great. I look for the invite. But either way, Jamin, brother,
Thanks for having me.
this was awesome, man. This was way more than what I was expecting it to be from the standpoint of, hey, we're going to talk about video games. We actually, I think we might have broke a record with regards to chat volume today. The sheer number of characters that were struck in retaliation to my statements was was sheerly awe-inspiring, and I thank you for
What you
helping
don't
to
know
encourage it.
is those two just decided to get married just now to prove you wrong.
Yes,
That
I
was
guarantee
the
that, like they're
whole
they're
reason.
chatting with they're whispering like, okay, how do we mess with this guy's brain right now? Okay, okay, just grab some Cheerios out. That'll be the ring. Yeah, okay, we'll make this work. Come on, just say I do. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, thanks, bro. And again, for those of you that didn't see the landing earlier for Jamin, it's jaminbradley.com, and the other option is 1208greenwood.com to go check out some of the other videos. And if you want to check out Nerd Church, if that's something you indeed want to try at your own place, by all means, reach out to Jamin and see how he does it, and see if that's something that you guys can do in your own space as well. So
Likewise, if you see me on the chat, it's probably under Newfangled Power.
Newfangled Power.
I think that's what I subscribe to you as. So
Just make sure you say hi. So again, thank you to Nappy for the gifted subs today. Let's see who else we had here. So we had Jobo Baggin followed today, and Nappy gifted some subs to him and to some other folks as well. So guys, girls, thank you. Great stream today. That was 2.5 hours, by the way. Normally I'm a 2-hour stream kind of guy. But,
feeling it today.
You brought out the best of me.
I killed your battery in the meantime. So.
That's all right. I got Mo battery.
Oh, and our Discord channel, Jobo Baggin just threw that up. So if anyone wants to keep
Oh, yeah, there you
conversation
go.
going with us, feel free.
Absolutely, jump in there if you want to find out more about that. So again, everyone, Batman, Sweetie, congratulations on your Twitch baby.
Marriage.
Wait, I don't know what you call it. I don't know, that thing. And everyone that participated in chat today, you guys are awesome. The depth of conversation, that is exactly what this channel exists for, to make us think and to get us outside of sometimes our comfort zones, and to make us expand what it is that we believe to be true for our own lives. So thanks you guys for doing that. Jamin, again, you are welcome back anytime. And one thing I would say to you is, even if you can't make it and want to be involved in a stream, no, you've got my cell phone number. You can call in. That's what this cord here is for.
Excellent.
I can hook my phone up and I just go whoop and you're on.
Perfect.
Or if Discord's a thing and you can jump on Discord, we can even do it that way as well. So if you can't get in the studio, chat. If you guys would want to see Jamin back another time, please throw some love in there so we know that that's a thing that you're interested in. And I promise he won't break your heart the way he's broken mine. So thanks again, everybody. I hope you guys all have a great week. It's Monday. And don't forget, Thursday is leg day. Never skip leg day, folks. It is the best day. Have a great day. Bye for now, everybody.